Are we live? How live are we? Says we're live. Merry Sunday. Welcome to Mars. Welcome Swear is here. Welcome Haley. Welcome Sylvia. Welcome Black Cat. Welcome Jester. Playlist of songs and sounds that calm down. ASMR. I never really got into ASMR. I'm really into listening to like recitations and how things sound, but just like cranked up like really sensitive quiet sounds. I never really understood that. Let's do some fucking ASMR. Hang on. Wait, where am I? Here I am. Oh, my hat's all like tall. Look like an alien. Ugh. Ugh. So I was gonna do a Conlang stream today, because usually what I do around holidays is get drunk and talk about linguistics. And since it's been, I believe, 5 years since I started working on Anglic, I can dedicate this holiday stream to talking about where this conlang is at and what it's been used in and used for, and what if I have any plans to do shit with it in the future, etc., etc. Let me get my snacks out of here so I can... Okay. Cool. Okay. I gotta fact check myself. Bob Ross is the origin of ASMR. Really? Happy holidays. Happy holy days. How's everybody's holiday season going? I know Christmas is rapidly approaching. Some people are probably like traveling to visit family. Some people are probably just like still stuck with family. Here's some ASMR. Fuck. Oh, I can't do it. Can't do it at that angle. It's not fizzing. Damn. It's not like that Kavita bottle. It's Hanukkah today. Holy shit. Hanukkah starts tonight. Hell yeah. Yeah, Yule starts today too. It's Festivus. Happy Yule. How long is Yule supposed to go for? I'm sorry, Lily. Also, Haley, if you want to come down, you can. I'm gonna make myself small here and not crinkle this shit into the microphone. Okay. So that's like 2 weeks? This is, a blueberry almond Orgain protein bar. I didn't eat that much, so I just ran across the street. Got myself a fucking protein bar. Oh, why did it start 20? There we go. Okay. So let's talk about English. So, a while ago, probably in like 2015, I started seeing stuff about the concept of English. Even before that, probably. But, you know, let's find... uncleftish beholding. This is one of those things I found. It might have been this video here. What if English were 100% Germanic? But there's this thing, uncleftish beholding. Let me see if I can just find it and read it. So, English is the idea of you take English in the structure that we recognize it in modern day, but take out all of the borrowed words so that you're only working with words that came from, like, Old Germanic, like the proto-language that English came from. So, like, Old English words being modernized. Okay. So, the idea is, if you follow the way that other languages update their vocabulary instead of just borrowing Latin and Greek shit, you can still make something that is intelligible, and more familiar to people who learn a language. So, purely Germanic English, talking about atomic theory. For most of its being, mankind did not know what things are made of, but could only guess. With the growth of world ken, we began to learn, and today we have a beholding of stuff and work that watching bears out, both in the workstead and in daily life. The underlying kinds of stuff are the first stuffs, which link together in sundry ways to give rise to the rest. This was written in, I don't know. This is relatively recent, is the point. Let's find, like, where's that thing about light rot? Oh, I can't search it. Though, okay, for although light oftenest behaves as a wave, it can be looked on as a mote, the light bit, the photon. We have already said by the way that mote of stuff cannot behave not only as a chunk, but as a wave. So so not only as a particle, but as a wave. Down among the unclefts atoms, things that cannot be divided. Things do not happen in steady flowings, but in leaps between bestandings that are forbidden. Things do not happen with, like, steady ease of motion, but with quantum jumps. That's what they're saying. The knowledge hunt of this is called lump beholding. Lump beholding. Yeah. 1989. So, yeah, I really like this. Soothly, we live in mighty years. So I like the idea of taking a kind of familiar vocabulary, neither bits, sour stuff. Neither bits are neutrons. I love that. Like, sour stuff. Burnstone bits, I believe, are positron or protons. Like, the idea of deriving vocabulary from mingling, that's chemistry. Deriving things from just pure English it makes stuff sound so much more whimsical. I'm also one of those people that, in school you would hear those posh kids that would be like, yeah, English is just fucking stupid. I'm too good for English. English is dumb. You need to make it better. You need to fix it. And I took this so far to really root out what went wrong with English. And in my opinion, wasn't any of the other borrowed, influences on the language. It was the fucking Great Vowel Shift. It's what we did to ourselves. We fucked over... Here, look at this. We took all of our vowels in English and we combined a couple of them and just shifted them. This is pretty rare in linguistic evolution. Some stuff does happen like this, where things will rapidly and steadily shift over time, but rarely is there like a way that things are pronounced for a while and then suddenly over like 200, 300 years, and then they just continue that way. Homosexuals and how they speak. Feather beast equals bird. That's another thing is, you learn how when you combine roots like that, you can make stuff that sounds... You can arrive at the same meaning a bunch of different ways by, like, combining things. And, then you rely on connotations and you can kind of carve out different dialects. And I'll get to that later. But basically, I figured, well, I gotta go... If I have any hopes of standardizing English and making more sense of English, I'm gonna have to go to before the Great Vowel Shift, and I'm gonna have to go before we had a lot of foreign influence on the roots of our language. So, the idea that I came up with was Anglic. What if the English or the Anglo-Saxon settlers ended up, isolated somewhere in some fucking mountains and just never talked to anybody else? But, like, you go there and it's, like, modern day still. They just arrived there independently. What would their language be like? That was essentially my, the main idea behind this. And, it's not really realistic and as to how this turns out, because my underlying goals, my real goals, my, fiction is sort of a justification for things, but my actual goals were, I wanted to make English simpler. I wanted to make something that's really familiar to learn, but sounds and looks really foreign. A friend of mine called English angry French. It's sharp. It's sharp French. I would say it's very similar to sharp French. It's sharp Dutch in a fight with French. That's what English is. French sounds angrier. Why? Pourquoi? French sounds so, like, flowy to me. German is really bouncy. I don't know. That's the thing. The cadence of French and German, and other languages that are more rhythmic, as well as like old poetry like Beowulf, where the meter of it, the rhythm of it, and the alliteration, like the stress, is really important to the reading. Basically, I wanted to make something that, after all of the aesthetics, all the orthography, the sound and the look of it is worked out, make it flow more like a bouncy, what you would expect from a foreigner, being in a foreign place and hearing someone da-da-da-da-da-da, have it flow, have it be rhythmic, have it be poetic. And so, now that I've explained what led up to it, let's find a rendering somewhere. Oh, I don't know the fucking Lord's Prayer. Let's do the Prayer of the Moon. Mona hyrra mona sewa, mina hechis friend. Mona mewaka mona melade, pula tidas within. Laucha ertzedemikim, mona me fria. So that's just how it aesthetically flows. The Lord's Prayer flows really fucking good, and I want to find it. Anglic Prayer Times Mantra. It's one of these. Ure Father Heaven is, dina na mahalidwis. You come dina dom, you wertha dina wilje don, swa haven uven, swa under an earth. Swa haven uven, swa under an earth. Uzum jiva bread els dagas, und uzum for jiva ure sinnas, swa we for jiva thuzum sin ras. And uzum nalada dust, aka fiva nerios, for dina be the dom that avol the hroth for ra and don. I usually say that differently. I don't know where that is. Where's the dina way you don? Swa uvan, swa under. Uzum metam medvantas, and uzum. Oh, this is like the vaguer version. Do I have more prayers? Euphorian? Oh yeah, this is all meta. Ik wende je haft dat aan had. Ik wende dwimer te in south. Ik wende drego te arroth. Ik wende sooner klinen te ilke klinen. I will turn noise to harmony. Or I will turn from noise to harmony. Fuck. Oh, here's, is this the Tower of Babel? Soth, the earth habit anatung and samasprats. Thade utlet af est, de finden an velden sinades landen undenas. I gotta turn off the spelling suggestions. I'm getting sick of this. Don't correct me. You don't know my language, Google. You will never know me. Okay. I'm a big fan of trill consonants. Yeah, I kind of want to make this so dialectically you can pronounce the R's like however. So, the earth habit anatungen samasprats. Thade ulet afeest, de finden an velden sinares land en wundendas. De sea queth kumena uten makna tieles en them bakena befir, en hablen we tieles verstandes en pits verwellim. En de queth, kumena, we shall see maculum steden tor. We shall see maculum steden tor, sede mid ratchen of heaven. Und urnamem jivena gleumend, arwe sin todale jond alle earthes. I wish I was like smooth with this. I wish I was fluent in a fake language that I have absolutely no immersion with. I think I did videos reading these. But, yeah. So about 5 years ago, I started working with this, and I think the first thing I did was learn about the cases through pronouns. Because in English, we preserve more of the cases with certain pronouns. Like I, me, my, that kind of shit. So, this chart looks a little bit confusing because some of the more common ones have like multiple variants. And that goes back to the aesthetic thing. I want to be able to make it allowable for certain sounds to be shortened if they don't flow in most situations. So, it can be if, you know, something starts with like a k or g or ch sound, you might drop the C from something and say like eh. Like I make noise. Iklin. You could probably just spell that I''klin. Instead of minahat, you can say mihat. That kind of shit. But I brought back a genitive case that I didn't bring that one back. We have that one already. I brought back the dative case. And basically fleshed these out more in Anglic compared to modern English. That's also essentially what Old English had for most of their words. So YouTube recommends Hidden Treasure sometimes. Hell yeah. Yeah, I always... One of my, an underlying thing to all of this, too, is I really wanted to make something that... Back when I was young and, like, looking around at, for resources to do conlangs, I found, like, Mark Rosenfelter, just by, like, Googling stuff and having things suggested, and finding, like, oh my god, this guy has an entire fucking universe, and tells you how to, like, make this shit up. I wanted to do something where, I just kind of scatter stuff around that has this little, like, hey, what the fuck is that? Just so people can find it. Because, one of the things that upset me as a kid, we were looking at the globe. I was looking at the globe with my dad, and he was showing me all the countries, and, like, yeah, all the places everywhere on Earth, we've, people live there, and we've divided it up, and here's how it is. And my first thought was, like, that's it? There's no more, like, exploration to do? Like, we got all of it? Like, there's no more frontier. That's it? We got all of Earth? What the fuck? And so, I always wanted to create that sort of finding new, artifacts, finding new things on the frontier that you've never seen before, and wondering, like, what the fuck is this? So, the fact that people have found me, like, swear, the fact that you just kind of randomly stumbled upon it is, like, this thing is living up to the hopes I had for it, like, 5 years ago, and that's cool. But, sort of ulterior motive that I had with making this pronoun chart was that I could collapse the remnants of grammatical gender in English, which would be the gendered pronouns, into a single one, and then separate it by indexing, which is something that I learned about from American Sign Language, where instead of referring to someone depending on gender, and you can also do this with inanimate. Where the fuck is it? It's probably in pronoun use. Hang on. Oh, I sorted everything. Pronoun use. Indexing. Yeah, so you can just change the pronoun that you use for, like, multiple people that you need to refer to in a third-person setting. So ze, and then you can add they for the second person, and then you can add te, or you could just use ze and other. But this allows you to extend and index individual subjects, so you don't get lost with two guys are talking to each other. You don't, like, have to use he twice and confuse who he told him what and shit like that. You can just index depending on people's relevance to the conversation. Sorry, I had to almost burp. I'm drinking that kombucha. Anyway, that's one thing that I wanted to do. That's really cool. Thank you. And that's the thing. That's the thing about constructed languages, is if you just want this to be fictional, like, I have this fictional race of dog people. And the way that I define dog people universe is I find something that could be true, would be cool if it was true, but has like no evidence. There's no reason for something to like be a certain way. And just think like, well, that'd be cool if it was. I'm gonna throw that to the dogs. And I've basically developed this whole universe of like, all these conspiracy theories are true, and there's just this stuff baked into a language that they speak because I think that'd be cool. And I just try to write, and then like, what's it like to try to be a normal fucking person in that universe? Like, so. Throw it to the dogs. And so this is the language that the dog people speak. This isn't the only one, though. There is a deeper proto-language that I still don't have enough work done on to talk about that much. But it's called Vandalic. This is the one that I like to write in runes. This is the one that I like to write, like, prayers and chants in more. This is like the clerical, tribal, like, Gothic church architecture runes, like, in the, like, this is that language for the dog people. And it's based on East Germanic, like, Gothic and the few remnants that we have of Vandalic, but also just brought back closer to Proto-Germanic, because you can conjugate it like Latin, and you have a lot more freedom with syntax. And so when you're writing chants and hymns and prayers and stuff, you have more flexibility to make things rhyme and make things fit rhythmically. But the numbers are pretty much the root of like all, or like a different take on spelling and pronouncing, the root of like all the Germanic languages numbers. Eine, zwei, dries, peder, fünf, sechs, sieben, achto, neun, tegen, einelif, and twaalf are just closer to one left and two left, which is where 11 and 12 come from. Teguz. So, there's two values for basically every sound in Vandalic. This is an aside. I'm supposed to be talking about Anglic, but I just want to talk about this because dog people. There's two values for every consonant sound in Vandalic. There's the harsh sound, the like solid sound, and then there's the loose or intervocal sound. So basically, initially, consonants will be full voice, like p, b. The voice consonants in particular, if they're between two vowels, or if you're just speaking loosely, if you're just fucking vibing and just going, fucking talking like that, then they just kind of melt into their fricative version. So b becomes v, d becomes the, g becomes g, z usually becomes j. And v can be pronounced like officially and harshly v, but usually it's w. And I have them use Q for K because fuck it. Like people use C for K, people use K for K in Conlangs. Fuck you, I want to use Q for K. You never see that. You never see Q for K. It looks like G. Like that's the way that I explain that, is it looks like G with one less stroke. So I do that. I use W for hua in Anglic, so fuck it. There's also nasality, and they represent that, I believe, with X. X is their ng sound, because that actually comes from runes. The ng rune is an X. So, using some of that real life, fake life lore, I try to evolve the dog universe alongside our own kind of history, using like elements from it, but arranging it in a more, controllable, containable way. Like a dog. Didn't miss anything. Didn't miss conlang time. What's up? I'm just talking about dog people languages. Let's get back into Anglic. So, all of this was written. I don't think I've added to this much in the past 2 years. All of this was written between 2015 and 2017, and some things are just fucking, like, dead ends still, because I just figured, like, I don't really know what to explain here. But this is a Taco Bell language. It's meant so that all of the elements of it can be versatile and placed in different configurations and still make sense, essentially. Welcome, Jakaris. One of the ways that I wanted to accomplish this is just adding a future tense. There's no reason. It just sort of rivals, or it sort of parallels how we'll add, like we'll shorten it to ul and add to something. They do something similar, but they add it to the verb itself. So, fremel is will do, or fremeln. Fremsenen. And, it's just aesthetics. It's just because that sounds cool to say. Chapisen. Chapil. I will trade. Huh. Stop. There we go. Okay. Oh, also you may notice that the word for to be, in Anglic, and also in Vandalic, if I go find it. Where is it? Where's the copula? Copula, whatever the fuck. Being. Yeah, it's also the same here. This actually goes all the way back to Proto-Indo-European. I try to keep wes as a constant, as like a really like high and abstract form of saying to be in my conlangs, just to give it a backbone. Like if I want something to be preserved across like all my languages, is like, the common feature is that they have a wes form of to be, and that it's more abstract and vague and catch-all than the rest of the bees. But whiz is like, if you're asking, like, is there something, or, is it that something, instead of, adding it or there or anything like that, you would just use whiz, where elsewhere you would, use be. So one, there's a Japanese Pimsleur thing where, they give you a phrase for, like, is there beer? Biru ga arimasu, which it basically means, like, does beer exist? That's sort of like how you would also, you would ask, like, alu is? Like, is there, or wiz alu? Like, is there beer? Is how you would ask that in Anglic. So it's sort of like an abstract, like, does this thing exist? But also, once you get past a certain amount of conjugations, you just use the wes form. And there actually is a god whose name means to be, that is in this mythos, and this, canonically, this is one of their marks on the speech of the lower universes. Because they're the god of the bees. Welcome, Ethereal. So, I don't really go too much into the world building of Anglia itself. Have to help with dinner. That's fine, thanks for coming. So, whereas in Vandalic I wanted everything to be sort of hot swappable, where you build as much onto the roots as possible and you can move things around. Um, Anglic is very, like, syntactical, because I want to code a lot more variance in how to mean things, or variance in what things are capable of meaning, into just fixes, but also like particle relations. So, fox is seen the hound. The fox was seen by the hound. Fox is seeing. Fox seeing. These sound kind of convoluted and hard to like properly translate. I'm not really sure how naturally these things would occur, but they can be made to mean these things essentially. Fox is seen. The fox was seen. Fox is seen. The fox had been seen. Oh, adding "ya" at the beginning of any verb makes it the oh fuck, what is the term for that? Have makes the verb refer to an event in a period of time in which an action was taking place. Perfect tense? Yeah. I had done something, basically. I have eaten, as opposed to I ate. And you can use that in interesting ways. Ikireko, I will have had smoked. So you can stack meaning in like pretty interesting ways, and in ways that can only really make sense in certain contexts, but are still there and able to be used, essentially. You drink it. I had been drunk. Where's I am drunk? Drink it. But that means they're drunk. Drink it. Drink has happened to me, is basically what that means. Drinkendik. I am drinking. I'm not really drinking. This has 0.5% alcohol by volume. Oh boy. Getting fucking trashed. Okay. So I just wanted to bring back words like hither, nither, eft, thither, whether. Just aesthetics. Let's see. Drink has happened to me. I have been cursed with drink. Yeah. Let's see. Word order, noun use. Yeah, this is getting into all like the word order of shit. So, another way to go into this. I wanna get deep into Anglic. Because there's a couple things. First off, Swear, who I believe is still in the chat. God dropped off a fucking laser printer, like right around the time that Swear got done with this. So now I have a laser printer in my room, and the first thing I printed, and it actually got through all this. Swear a while ago formatted. I'm just gonna hold this up straight up to the fucking camera, and then I'm gonna pull up the digital version, but I just want to show that I have it physically. Swear actually in Futhorc order, so starting with F, like if I go back up, let me go to the orthography here. Fuck, where is it? Yeah. So if you see this like order of these letters down in the corner, it's actually arranged in that order, and it's like average like dictionary entries, and it gets through everything, you know, every letter, and then each of their dotted equivalents too. Like, oh, this is so cool. And the thing is, like, the Anglic vocabulary is already excessive, right? There's 2,000. Hang on, how many words? Yeah, there's 2,333 words. So you can talk about most things. Um, but this as a resource is really cool. I keep this in my backpack. And the thing is, it managed to print all of that. And then I was like, well, shit, if I have like this in one side, then I'm gonna print out the grammar on the other side. Or yeah, just shove in the other pocket. And then it ran out of ink. It ran out of ink once it got to the oh fuck. Where did it get to? Page 34, adjectives and adverb use. So it still had... Oh, it got through most of it. But now I have you know, a physical version of the 2 tabs I used to keep open for like 5 years straight. And that's mind-blowing to me, and thank you for the effort, Swear. Also, just in this folder, I have maps of Anglia. Here's Vandaland. Fuck. I'll take proper scans of those at some point. Make proper cartography. That shit's cool as fuck. I gotta print out the let me get into Discord because there's a cheat sheet for the pronouns and other case endings. Let me find it. Set of risk conlangs. Anglic magic sheet with colors. Let me open this. Where's my screen? Yeah, so Swear did this too. And this is cool as fuck. It's so concise. The magic sheet. This is so fucking cool. It's like it's really hard to like connect the reality of like, you know, for so many years, for like since I was like 12, I've been scouring Wikipedia and different like sites looking up charts like these for like all the languages that I took inspiration from and seeing like, oh, fucking somebody else who likes my stuff on the internet. Just like it's really weird. It's like it's so flattering because it feels like, you know, it's like the bird's been pushed out of the nest, it feels like. I love this. I love conlanging. It is a testament to how available resources are online, and a testament to how dedicated people can be to just creativity and creative thinking and like really like specific niche categories. And I'm so glad because like 5-6 years ago there were not many other people that were doing like conlanging stuff, like regular conlang content online, and now there's a ton. There's like Conlang Critic. There's there's Omniglot, which like updates with people's conscripts and stuff. There's let's see. I joined like 3 conlang discords just the other day, and I can't like remember anything. Interesting how information travels. Oh yeah. Let's dive into some deep Anglic lore. Let's see here. Okay, so time. They consider time a bit differently than we do. They don't have... Humans can be incredible sometimes, just like, I'm gonna create a new language because I can. Interesting thing about conscripts, or conlangs and conscripts in general, Korean, which most linguists will agree with me that Korean's writing system is the best, objectively, the best. It's the best. Look at it. Look at this. This is 100% phonological information that also forms unique shapes of words and syllables. It cuts it down. It tells you where the syllable breaks are. It tells you it fits this language like a fucking glove. You can't write every language like this, but you can sure as fuck. There is no better way to write Korean. Right? This is the best language ever. This is invented. Someone commissioned this. Someone came up with this. Like, intentionally, let's come up with an easy way to write Korean. What's the best way to write Korean? They just came up with it. Let's see. Writing system. Hangul. Yeah, history. Creation. Before the creation of the new Korean alphabet, Koreans primarily wrote using canonical Chinese. Due to fundamental differences between the Korean and Chinese languages, the large number of characters in many lower-class Koreans were illiterate. Many lower-class Koreans were illiterate because of these things. To promote literacy among the common people, the fourth king of the Joseon dynasty, Sejong the Great, personally created and promulgated a new alphabet. Popular saying about the alphabet is, a wise man can acquaint himself with them before the morning is over, and even a stupid man can learn them in the space of 10 days. And it's really fucking easy, that's true. It's really fucking intuitive. The characters all build off of each other. But the fact is, like, human ingenuity has been used in this way. There's also Esperanto, which is insane, and, is the reason that a lot of people conlang and are able to conlang in the depth that they have. There's a whole section here on Duolingo. God. And Esperanto was sort of an inspiration for Anglic because I wanted to Esperantize the conjugation and stuff. Make everything the same. No noun classes, none of that. Just everything ends the same. There's only a few situational differences in how you pronounce things, and sort of how you write them based on those endings, but they're largely the same. Make me purple. Yeah, cool. So, in Anglic, in Anglia, in fictional Anglia, etc. versus Dogland Anglia, and also in like Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, they would measure time in periods of 3 hours called stunds, rather than hours. So they would have midnicht, uchta, morgen, undern, middag is like noon, midday, lutarn is like afternoon, and avond, evening, and nicht, night. And you can also divide this into 3 periods of 8 hours each. Dagung, dawn, dag, day, and doch, dusk, essentially. And I think, so the idea is that people's activity and the events that they do basically operate along stunds. What do you do in each stund? Because if you, like, in your day-to-day, you don't really schedule things hour by hour. there's classrooms. Classrooms will do that, sure, but it's like, you know, you're in class for 2 stunds. You're in school for 2 stunds, and then you go home. Like, you know, it's either that or we tend to measure periods, or we tend to measure our life in chunks of what we're doing every 8 hours. You sleep for 8 hours, you work for 8 hours, you have this mean time, you know, in the middle, right? So having dawn, day, dusk as like a way that you divide time, where, you know, day is like the hours of daylight, dawn is like, you know, from midnight to like early morning, and then dusk is from like evening to night or afternoon to night. That works. That's sort of just how we divide things anyway. So the way that they divide time is less about being particular and more about the loose feeling of passage of things. Tadag, the cognate for today means at day, meaning not specifically like the day that it is, but if you're going to do something and it's going to happen, you know, at some point in that day, you'd say today, meaning it's happening in the future, but still within the space of a day. Thestag means this day, which, you know, if you were going to ask, like, what day is it today, you would ask, what dago is this dag? What day is it this day? So that's, you know, little dumb semantic shit. The days are basically the same as what they were in Old English, except I changed, yeah, well, they're pretty similar to what they still are, except I kept Saturday different. I'm not to bother, but for nicht, shouldn't it be am? Wait, where? Where? Nicht? Shouldn't it be am? Where? Where in particular? Not quite sure. Tonichtigan. Man, this is doing that thing. I don't want it to spell. Don't want it to correct me. Time. Time? Oh, and the 12? 12 a.m.? That? That's right. Okay. Did not notice that. That's probably been like that for 3 years. Who's this? Anonymous capybara? Idling. Of course it is. What should capybara do? Anyway. No, that's fine, thank you. Anyone is free to go to case.dog/conlangs and find this page and just comment on it and correct all my mistakes. So there's 2 ways to spell each of the days. There's 2 ways to basically spell any word that has more than one root in it based on what you want to emphasize. But there's a formal, long way to say a day, and there's a quick way to say a day. So there's Sunstag, which is the sun's day, Månestag, moon day, Tiwestag, Wodenestag, Thunrestag, Friestag, and Leiestag. So the difference is just that these are genitive. This is the day that belongs to something. But you don't honestly need to fucking know that if you're just using them to specify stuff. So, Sundag, Mondag, Tiudag, Wodendag. One of the reasons that I wanted to... The benefit, I still label all my weekday shit with Latin, or not Latin, with Anglic letterings, just as a personal thing, because there is the V which is easier to write than the W, and it's easier to fit in places. There's the thorn, which is different than TH, so you don't have to put like TU and TH. And then the same thing with Saturday and Sunday. Same thing with Saturday and Sunday. This means lie day, like soap day, like you're washing things. So Saturday is the day of the week where you wash stuff. Sunday is the day where you just like chill in the sun. So you don't have two S's, you have L, and you don't have two T's, you have the thorn. And so I still do that. Months, I still count stuff with the Anglic lunar month calendar. And the way that they count time is they have alternating 30, 29, 30, 29 months, because I think it takes 29.5 days for a moon to happen, or 28.5, whatever. But the way that they solve this gap is that they have an extra month called Yule month. And it is 22 days. Because the thing is, after you divide things into 12 months, you end up into 12 like even months, basically. You end up with 11 more days. My solution to that is, instead of having like a weird 11-day portion, you instead have a 22-day portion every 2 years. So Yule, as a month, as a whole festive month, happens every 2 years, and that is to set the lunar calendar back with the solar calendar, essentially. All the other months have static. There's a static pattern of 30, 29, 30, 29, 30, 29. But really, it's just about measuring like where the moon starts. Whenever there's a new moon, whenever the calends happens, they move to the next month, and it ends up being like this. They just have a certain count with where the sun is that brings the extra month around, and so they'll use that measurement, and then just whenever the moon is in whatever fuck cycle it's in, they're like, all right, now the month starts on this moon, and then every year is characterized by once the Yule month period like is over and lands on a new like phase of the moon, that year, sort of like zodiacs, are characterized by what phase the moon is on New Year's. So, party for a whole month. Yeah. I like the idea of Yule. My whole festivity is like Christmas is really bullshit, and kind of has been reduced to like just a hollow cultural thing. So I just go to a convention that's nearby around when my birthday is, which is in early December, and we just party. Oh. But all of these months have names that I believe most of them came from Old English. I might have moved things around. I think this is the order that they went in, like, approximately. I might have added Fire Month. But I'm basking in sun. Cool. But, these are pretty much, they're pretty straightforward. Ice Month. Mud Month. Solmonath. Hrethmonath is Glory Month, which I like that. Glory and Easter Month. Gladmonath. Hallmark holiday. I heard from someone that Jesus wasn't even born in December. Yeah, wouldn't he have been, like, well, because, yeah, it's just like a winter solstice thing. The only reason that people celebrate stuff in winter is because winter is fucking depressing. So you literally need to make something up to get people excited for something, to keep the cheer up, because Christmas is less about, shit happening, more about, oh, it's holiday cheer. Get that holiday cheer. Everyone, that was the whole thing. That's the whole cultural thing is, oh, it's the holidays. You got to be happy. That's literally the point of it. The rest of it, bullshit. The only point of it is literally to tell you, you gotta be happy this time of year. And that's true. You just gotta be. It's the only way to survive. I didn't class back the months. This is all from Old English. Glad Manath. Be glad it's not so goddamn cold anymore. Yeah, this is when it starts getting springy. It's after the Easter solstice. Litha Monath. Litha means peace, but it also just sort of means like vibin, like mildness, like when the weather isn't rough. So around like this is like June, July-ish. Madmanath is also another word for mild. But this is more about, you know, this is summer. This is like late summer. Weldmanath is weed month. And that's that's August-ish. Harvest Manath is pretty straightforward. That's harvest month. Blot Manath, sacrifice month. This ends up being October, usually, which is cool. Blot Manath is a cool it's a cool word for October. Winter Manath is winter month. That's when things start getting cold. Fire month. Firmanath. For me, that doubles as meaning fur month because I go to a fucking furry convention. But also blaze it. It's that month where you need to light a fire. And then Yule month. So, I wrote more. Let's see. Early on in the post-apocalyptic old human exploration, there were other hominids in West Ranges that had made vague contact. Some were bulkier, industrious, lived in caves, and were called dwargas. Others were more lithe, preferred mountains and forests, and were often called alvas. Christmas, be happy and shit. If you don't, everyone will treat you like you're a cynic. Well, the point is that if you don't have a reason, like, Yule happened because, like, we would literally just find the biggest tree in the area, set it on fire, and drink for, like, a week, like, until the tree burned out. That's what Yule was. Now we have a log in a fireplace, and there's the Yule log, but no, we would just find a huge fucking tree, set it on fire, and dance around it, getting hammered as fuck. It was like Burning Man in the middle of winter. That's just, like, this is what white people, like, live for, right? We just want to fuck shit up, okay? We just want to, in the middle of the night, when there's no sunlight, want to build something out of fucking, you know, straw, and then set it on fire and watch it, and just drink and party. Because when your fields aren't producing food, your animals are, like, you know, struggling, not giving you enough either. All your resources are dwindling, and it's cold, and everyone's, like, diseased because they're, like, huddling up closer to each other. It's depressing. You just gotta fucking party. Their behavior was harsh, tribal, unreceptive, so the old humans let them be. In the fertile section of this tribe called, or in the fertile section of this land called Doggerland, which exists. Let me look it up. Or it doesn't exist anymore. It did. Basically, places that no longer exist on Earth is where Dogland is. Dog Universe. This is Doggerland. This area that would have been between, you know, the Norse-ish places and England. This is where, like, you know, Anglia and Vandalia are. Strange supernatural phenomenon took place. Dwargas and Algas would come together here and trade with other species. Drakas, a draconic beast, and Wuthurisas, a number of furred monsters. Over time, the Dwargas and Albas interbred into a species that came to be known to the beasts as Gosta or Gasta. the race of hominids themselves adopted the name Gastafolk. In a period probably 4,000 years ago, the area had undergone a power struggle. Conquerors from the southern coastal empire, Witulia, had turned the area into feudal labor. Mines, farms, and industry built up the culture of Witulian nation and people, while the ghost people, the native Anglic, were left used as miners and laborers. This is also a thing that happened in this region. Let me look up... I think it's called the Hallstatt culture. Central European culture in the late Bronze Age. This was one of the first instances of Celtic culture spreading, and there were populations that mostly dwelled in mines. Yeah, they'd fucking mine. These are the mining dwarves. These are the mining dwarves of old Europe. They were Celtic, and they were ruled over by Stack Barrowgrave. Yeah, these are the Kurgans. Old Indo-European culture is when they swept through Europe in phases. This was one of the earlier things that they did, and so I kind of took from that. An outspring of force from Doggerland against the Witulian rulers had led to a nationwide revolution, with the Gastafolk claiming most of the nation as their own. By the time the old humans returned, the Gastafolk controlled all the land except a region called Vandalia, spanning Doggerland and the mountains the streams from it emerged from. Yeah. Anglia is a country that spans the northern coast of Europe. It is divided into 4 states, or shiriches, like shire kingdoms. Engelricha, Northricha, Nederricha, and Vandalicha. So Nederricha is the Netherlands, Northricha is the Norse, and Engelricha is like, English shit. Whoa, didn't know that. Show us the dogs. Okay, I'll show you the dogs. Cynocephali. Here's the thing. So, hundreds of years ago, in various kinds of literature, religious literature especially, they would talk about these tribes of dog people that lived really far east in, like, mountains. The Indians thought they came from East Europe, but the Europeans thought they came from West India. And there's just a bunch of paintings of figures with dog heads. And, you can say, like, oh, they're just, kind of representing historical figures with dog heads for whatever reason. That's a thing that we've done for a while. Like, look at Anubis. The only reason that... But, Anubis is a bit different. Anubis is an extrapolation of the idea that dogs bury bones. And, sometimes, if graves are shallow enough, dogs will smell the meat that has been fermenting and just fucking, grab a limb from a grave and run off with it. Or eat the organs. No, it's because they would eat the organs of graves. Dogs would bury things to let them rot for a bit so that their flesh would soften and so that they could eat them easier. And so... dogs bury bones, and dogs bury carrion so that they can return to it after it's decayed and fermented a little bit. So, people start seeing that, and they're like, oh, these dogs, they have something to do with the dead. And eventually they create a ritual when they don't want to just bury someone in a fucking shallow grave. They're like, okay, we gotta... Because if they don't have the organs in them, they dry out faster, and they become... mummies. So they're like, okay, we gotta extrapolate this process, right? We gotta take their organs out, and we gotta put them in chemicals that dry them out really fast, so that they don't rot. And so we'll do the job of the dogs, with the dog spirit looking over us, so we can ritualize what the dogs naturally, So that's where Anubis comes from. That's a different thing. The Cynocephali, though. What's interesting is that there wasn't an argument in the literature about them that discussed them And it's almost all religious stuff. It's almost all like, who should we convert? The argument was never about whether these things existed. Like, there's letters back and forth, and no one's being like, oh, what the fuck are you talking about, the dog people? Dog people? You're saying we should go teach the scripture to dog people? Where the fuck have you seen dog people? The response is always, the argument is not whether or not they exist. Everyone talks about them as if they've been observed and they know about them. The argument is always whether or not they should be taught about Jesus. So cynocephaly, retromnus. Let's see if I can find the retromnus and the dog-headed people. For you are asking what you ought to think of the cynocephaly, namely, whether they were descended from Adam's stock, or if they have the souls of beasts. This question can be briefly settled as follows. If we were to consider the kinds of people there are, it should seem obvious that they had been descended from the offspring of the first humans, and of course it is impossible to suppose that a person came from some other origin through the means of their earliest ancestors. If we ponder about the species of beast, named such by humans, by their nature they don't communicate. Meanwhile, with this knowledge, if we were indeed satisfied with our supposition, which is clearly held by the church ministers, then they, the cynocephaly, should be considered closer to... Oh, it's a paywall. Fuck. We'll never know. Anyway. Dog people. There's monks and shit that have extensive writings about, the dog people. And so I was just like, well, let's write them in here. Capital of Northreach is Lechtalften. Capital of Vandalreach is Boldalften. Vandals are a scrappy but not quite lawless society. Some of their laws protect whatever laws someone sets up in their own house, which makes their justice system rather lenient. You do need to fill out paperwork to fight, legally, however, and the brawl department of their capital is among the busiest in the state. I eventually would want to do a story, maybe like a visual novel, in Vandalic, in the brawl department of the capital of Vandalia. Because my idea is, like, have you ever seen a hardcore, like, metal concert? People just come out and just start fucking swinging. Like, just, people just make themselves, like, fucking Beyblade tops and just, like, just at each other. That would be what the capital of Vandalia is like. Biggest buildings in Vandalia, the most structure, definitely a village with stuff going on. But you walk out your door, and in the street, there's just some people fucking swinging. And that's what it's like there. So, permission to fight, sir. Permission granted. I need a weapon. I gotta figure out how to say I need a weapon in Vandalic. In English, do I have a word for weapon? I'm pretty sure it's just weapon. Yeah, weapon. You got native weapon. I think weapon also means penis. Not quite sure about that. And that's not me, that's from Old English too. Oh, every region has their own common kind of grain. Surdach, sourdough. They have black bread, which would be like pumpernickel. Niederica has rye. Vanderica has flat bread. They just make pancakes. Penis is a weapon. Sure. Do you have a phrase for cute cats? Do I have a phrase for cute cats? Let's see, do I have a phrase for cute? I don't think I quite have something equivalent to cute. Pretty? No! Where are all my words for kind? Or nice? I had so many. Where are they? I had a thing that was just like words for good, and it was like a long-ass list. It might be somewhere else. Do I have like Anglic grammar 2? Anglic. Oh, I can't find the second one. I can't say cute in this language. What the fuck? But cat is just... cat. I can say large cat. Or, well, like big cat. It's just Mitchell cat. But cat is cat. Yeah, cat. I can't zoom in anymore. If you don't have a phrase for cute cat, it would be Katya. So it'd be Katya. It'd be that. If you add the diminutive to something, it means like little, like small version of it. If you want to be extra extra, it'd be Katya. Katya. "18 words for pleasant." That's right. Oh fuck, wrong search. Mild, pleasant. Pleasant. Fuck. Yeah. There's a lot. I eventually wanted to go through all of these and because these are from Old English. I didn't really translate a lot of these yet because I wanted to figure out the etymologies of each of them before I did. There's a lot. Winsome means like joysome. Winsomely, joysomely. Pleasant. Fuck. My main emotion. Fair. That's fair. Heor. Hold. Iete. Iethjarn. Lufsum. That's lovesome. Lufteme. Light something. Lufwinde. Love turning. Lustbare. Something that bears wanting. Lustsumlik. Lustsomely. That's so weird. Lustsome. Do profanities exist yet? So there's a whole system of fuck. And that is in a doc that I don't have here. But there is a word for fuck, and there is a lot of ways to use it. Fuck. It's spelled F-Y-C-C. Lufsum Mitzelkat. Lovesome big cat. Yeah. So you can use that as a verb, you can use that as an adjective, you can conjugate that however way you want. Most common way to use fuck is Afrika, which is fuck off. There's also F. You can also spell it F apostrophe C because it just ends up getting pronounced fka. So it's like not only a way to censor it, but it's actually just how they pronounce it. So, Zudivka means go fuck yourself. You really can create a language of just the word fuck. Yeah. Fic is one letter off for an acronym of a board I am on. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. Fuxen. And so, like, you can pronounce it fuck. You can pronounce it fuck. You can pronounce it fux. It's meant to be pretty ambiguous. Mindfuck. The origin of fuck is pretty ambiguous, so. Oh man, I go into like the governance. I haven't done much with this. This belongs in the second doc. This doesn't belong in this grammar doc. Because I need to work on it more. I think you could make you could do a language where the only word is fuck in like 5 tones. I think you could effectively communicate, like build a society on that. So societal relationships. This is more dog people than culture really. It's more like Vandalic descendants of like Vandalic tribes would think this way, but there'd be a lot of humans that are colonists that still think in the way that we do. But there's that old saying: "It takes a village to raise a child," and the familial system of Anglia is more based on. The familial system of Anglia is more based on larger, more like blurrier family units, where there's smaller neighborhoods and tribes that have a patriarchal and matriarchal figure, and then sort of instead of like linear generations, there's sort of like an even gradient of like, some younger parents that don't know enough about taking care of kids, and like some older adults that are capable and looking out for each other. Because of the intermingling of things, it is easier for word to get around and harder for people to hide if they're being dicks to children. That kind of parental and familial setup keeps things from getting like abusive in tribal situations, because there's more eyes on what's going on and more people that are trusted by a child to talk. And so going back to tribal, wasn't fuck originally like an acronym? That's one. There's a lot of etymologies. There's a lot of like folk etymologies for fuck. I don't think we know for sure. I think it's like a corruption of like some really, really old Germanic word. So they will recognize a biological father and mother because it's where your fucking genes come from. But and Swaling and Swaisib, like a Swaling is a biological sibling, basically. Sib is just a sibling in general, a family member. But there's more like kinship terms as to how you socially relate to the people around you. Kin is your kind, your communal family. Brother is a brother in the sense of like brethren, like sort of gender ambiguous, like someone that you would go out and like work with or play sports or like build shit with. Someone who is a brethren, someone you would fight with, someone that you would typical brotherly relationship, task-based teammate. Like Swester is someone who is more like a supportive kind of like communicative relationship. Nith is like cousin or fellow kinsman. It's kind of like how fucking people in like there's a lot of communal there's a lot of cultures where cousin is more of a loose, like you're in our group, like our families are friends and you talk and we're cousins, you're my cousin, like that. That's sort of the way that they use it in Anglic. And then Sib is just like an actual family member, like a blood family member. Not actual. This is the differentiation here. Both of these are equally as actual. And then there's other non-familial relationships. So like different kinds of friends you would have. Friend. Friend. So, friend actually comes from friond, which is someone I would set free. And that comes from old tribal shit. If you're gonna, like, you know, I mean, everything's hostile. First mention of the word fuck was the name of a guy. Roger. Fuck a bit the Neville. Roger fuck a bit the Neville. Nice. God. Oh, I can't zoom out. Fuck. There we go. So, there is a different word for fuck, which is eri. That actually comes from Old Norse. And then, this is a different word. Someone you fuck with. It's like you hang out. Fickend. We fuck around. There's Lovend, which is a loved one. Gadand? I believe... I can't remember where I got that from, but I think that's an old Germanic word for, like, a spouse. Found, a fiend. Someone you dislike. A kunand, someone that you know. Yemet, someone that you would meet and eat with. And that's basically what mate comes from. Frames. So instead of gender, they recognize different kinds of, like, body types that are suited for different, like, physical applications. Because, you know, it's still feudalism, so everyone's doing work. People sort of define each other by, like, what work they can do, what roles they can fill. And are less prescriptive about, like, what you should go do, and more focused on, like, if you were to go do something, like, what options are available to you if you are X or Y. Is there a word for fool? Let's see if there is a word for fool. I believe it's dwas. Foolish. Dwas, yeah. There's a problem there. Dwas. But, you know, I use a lot of, music symbolism, so I sort of name and sort frames based on the, case.dog / hs.png. Sort archetypes based on, overtone, undertone shit. Glass. Can carry a good punch. John LaFucker? Oh my god. John LaFucker. I gotta look up John LaFucker. Hang on. Wikipedia. John LaFucker was an Englishman who appears in an administrative record of 1278. Oh my god. John LaFucker of Tythinga, imprisoned at Peterborough for the death of Walter de Leighton and William de Leighton, wherewith he is charged, has letters to the Sheriff of Northampton to bail him. Thvas. Can you not see the loosome Mitchell over there? The lovesome Big? I think you're missing Cat. His unusual surname. God. Fike or Fick, meaning to fidget. John the Fidgeter. That's funny. Or John the Restless. John the Fooker. Fooker. Just another spelling of Fulker. Soldier. John the Fucker. What the fuck does your name come from? Fuck Billy Neville. Fuck Bitha Neville. Booth argues that there can be no doubt that the element fuck is his name has the sexual connotation. Oh my god. Rick Windfuck. Oh my god. A reference to the kestrel, a bird which at the time was known as the windfucker. Look at this. I fuck wind. God. Seems to have diverged from other falco. It's a kind of falcon. Okay. Ultraviolet sensitive, which allows them to visually locate trails of voles. Yeah. While this epithet originally derives from the innocuous Old Icelandic fjúka, tossed by the wind, it has been suggested by the spectator that this word was used in a derogatory manner. Windfucker. I'm gonna add that to Anglic. Do we have a word for, let's see. We don't have pigeon? No. Do we have crow? Oh, it's fucking right below Mitchell Cat. Let's add kestrel or falcon. Vind fecker. It's windfucker now. Large crow. Idiot. Dracker windfuckers. Yeah, that's how Dracsex works. They just fuck wind. Alright. Duva. I gotta add a word for pigeon. Standuva. Rock, dove, pigeon. Anyway. There are different... I thought I renamed these. Canava, Frey, Mais, Maja, Wera, and Quen are the, basically the gender archetypes. This is sort of like a gender spectrum. Wera is like, think of like a brick stacking construction worker who's like a bear, you know? It rhymes with bear. And then Quen, think of like Venus sculpture. Like, think of those, like, poles. This is sort of like a spectrum of, like, different, associations with masculinity and femininity in, like, different configurations. So it has basically, like, gender and identity and archetype in society is based more on, like, what you do rather than, like, what your fucking sexual orientation is. Because what they would have figured out after a while, especially with dogs and a lot of animals where sexual dimorphism isn't really that prevalent, there's bigger differences between, like, breeds of dogs, right? Like, there's more variance there. There's differences between animals, more so than there is between, like, the individual genders of a lot of these animals that would have populated this place. And so what you would realize, if you've been living in a society like that, is that it's kind of not relevant in most social situations to be identifying yourself with anything having to do with who you can mate with. That tends to not be relevant in a lot of, like, functional societal situations. Among tribes where you're trying to be, like, you know, the most of something, then yeah, I mean, like, that you want that to be a value. But if you're trying to keep, like, a society functioning and that's, like, your main deal, and you want to, you know, efficiently divide labor, You can't be worrying about fucking all the time. Yeah, Wichta. Neutral social role, a default associated. So Wichta is basically like if you don't if you can't be slotted into anything clearly, um people will call you a Wichta. I like that label too. I also like I have characters that will like my character. I have two characters that identify as Wichta. So like it becomes one of those things where like, you know, if you do something for a while, like if you're a fucking chef, right? And you go to chef school and you work at a restaurant for like 15 years, you're like, fuck, I'm a chef. It's my life. It's my identity. And it's the same thing. You know, you have a job, you have a social role for a certain amount of time, you'll identify with it. But these things are expected to be fluid. And expected to be, you know, conditional. Like people aren't going to like if you stop, you know, doing one thing and start doing something else, if you're like, oh, I want to chill, I don't want to be, you know, stacking bricks, I want to chill out and like work in an office or be or like write or do some shit like that, then like there isn't like a cultural thing any more so than there would be like you know, like I'm a chef, this is my identity. Like if someone wanted to start fishing, like having to give up the identity of like doing one thing to do something else or work at a desk job, you know, that kind of shit. Like there really isn't any of the big like gender shift, like that isn't the way that they structure society means that's not that big of a deal. People just sort of end up doing what they're doing and then recognize that like, oh, I'm doing this, people will regard me as being this because I do this thing. And so you can refer to a single person based on how they are relative to other people in their like groups that they have relationships with. So Sina Kanava Bimina Maith, his errand boy is my girlfriend, is like an entirely valid thing to fucking say in English, because of how their society works. Zebe Wichtemastum Equit Sem Wizan Mina Quinn. They were a friendly soul to most, but I knew this to be my mother. Yeah. Or I knew them as a mother to me is another. And I use friendly soul for Wichta, because I didn't know about public universal friend, but that's basically what that is. An artist and I love to write, I guess Wichta. That, I mean, that's not essentially like the only thing that would sort you into these. It's more about like how you carry yourself and what your like mannerisms lend yourself to. And the thing that I notice with a lot of artistic or creative people that live more so in abstract thought space, is that slotting yourself into like some kind of identity becomes either a lot more precise and a lot more like unique and individual, or isn't a thing at all. Like you either don't care about your own image and dedicate yourself to the image of like what you do, or you care so fucking much about your image, but in a way that isn't really relevant to any other, you know. So, Wichta is sort of that, oh fuck, what's that Caleb Gallo, like Freckle is an ultimate Wichta. Like, just not there. Spirituality and mythology. Yeah, they have different mythological relationships between concepts. Heaven is their space, earth. Then the void, Vuch, is like all the stuff you can't see, but still, you know, things that influence it. Closest to Maja. That's fine. The reason I spelled Joe with CG is there's a few reasons. It used to be how that was spelled in Old English. So if I look up, let's see. Yeah. Esbright, Edgebert, King of Wessex. Look at this weird shaped fucking head. Nacho ass looking, Dorito ass looking head. So this means Edgebright. Yeah, Edgebricht. And they used to spell edge this way. I don't know why, but CG makes the just sound. And so another reason for that is let me type this out. So I have a character named Casey DeTroya, and Casey actually breaks down to that. So John Edgebright, yeah. Listen, it's a really cool fucking name. I actually do have a character in my like deep lore that's one of the original dogs who have their King Edgebright. That's another story. That might be somewhere in here. I'll get to it. So there's that, and then so I wanted JC's name to break down into, where is it? Where is it? Fuck, I can't do the accents. Yeah. So JC's name breaks down into that. Which is just JC DeTroya. Is all this work just being done for dogs? Is there no society? There are indeed anthropomorphic cats. I just call it Dogland because my OCs that I revolve this around are they're let's look up. This universe is basically this is the Raynard the Fox universe. This is where this takes place. It's just the future. There are cats here. Let's see. Isn't Grimace? Modern treatment. Are there other? Where is it? See also. I know there's an anti-Semitic version. Jesus Christ. There would absolutely be cats. There would be goats, definitely. I think the only ones that I have off limits are, like, cows and sheep and, like, domesticated, like, farm animals. Because they would still keep those, right? And birds. Birds are not common. They exist. They exist in this, you know, Dogland dimension. In 4.3, basically. But they do not... Yeah, the fact that it replaced the word for fox in French amazes me. Yeah. I really love this early canon. It's terrible, and it's trashy. And this is one of those, like, mid-steps between Egyptian gods and furries. Like, this is, like, right about in the middle of that evolution. Chanticleer the cock. And, Shakespeare is really into this shit. I was looking for because there's the two jackals. I actually got that from a version of, Oh, are they not? Isn't Grimace? What the fuck? There's a version with, like, jackals. Isengrin? Wow. I can't find it. Foxes and culture. But there's a Middle Eastern version of Reynard the Fox where there's two jackals that are the tricksters against the big silver iron wolf. Um and So when I wrote my story, the main characters were, you know, those jackal tricksters. Are they like anthro or just normal ass cows? No, they would eat just normal cows. They wouldn't be anthro. Those are off limits. Isn't Chanticleer a product for cleaning? It could be. Fuck. It all comes together. The Anglic, etc. verse. The lands of Anglia and Vandalia interact with the planets of Ruof and Aknep. Ruof, the original home of the Vandalic dogs, a planet that exists in fourfold flux. Changes of seasons bring a shift of consciousness across individuals. One wakes up in a different civilization as a different person with a different language, but everyone has gotten used to this. As such, the mythologies of these societies and their cosmology have more complete and compatible has become more complete and compatible, regardless of the civilization or language. A flux point between Earth and Ruvof is in a place called Doggerland. Aknep is the homeworld of the Drake, or the Aknep Nekti, formed on a gas giant from neon storm clouds and vibrant floating plant islands, with life in the form of bugs, trees, and sentient bird-like dragons who call themselves Drake. Deities and figures. El, a demon god, said to be generous. A generous light-bearing beast with tendrils, mechanical parts, and anything imaginable found within. Its presence evokes a calming acceptance. Vandals and Angles personify the messenger of El as Jekwel or Ejekwel, considered to be the gateway god who communicates with others. Tiu Feather. This is all gods. There's Diuspector. Another personification of the abstract El of the universe. Represents the abstract light, guide, or judge of creation, and complete time. Earth Mother, Mother Earth. The vegetable or fungal mind that predates animate beasts, represents the material source that allows for and makes up creation. I'm about to go scream about the windfucker. Oh my god. Welcome back. Woden, a heated god of stability I use heated twice. Lord of the Wheelalfus, the machine elves. Or the wheel elves. Wheelalfus. Freya, the goddess of free love, said to be the patron god of the universe, worshipped heavily by the Vandals. Thunar, the god of quick change, flashes, and light. Raptir, the god of fusion, explosive change and turnings. Refined chaos, lord of the stars. Chehoti, orderly god of knowledge, the moon, logic, order, etc. See Thoth. Korogai. Is that? Yeah, Korogai. The vocal commanding prince/princess/air figure of the order their father represents. Queen of the birds, lord of the songs, mind of the stories. Yeshua, the god and messenger of autonomy and willpower, lord of the triad and luck. Wasana, the god of mere being, entropy, and acceptance and void, lord of the flies. Eastra, denizen of the field and probability. The fuck are the machine elves? They've been mentioned before. They're interesting. Skor, the composer. Leothtoga, the conductor. Leoth-tugger, the song-tugger. The conductor. Leothur, the singer. Leoth, the song. So there's the score, the singer, the song. Lord of the Flies. Are you kidding me? Lord of the Flies? You made that? I mean, I didn't make that up. No. But, was waiting for that fucking reference. How much do I gotta spell that out? The sun is Beelzebub. Anyway. So those are the deity figures that they worship, and they have chakra. Who boy do they have chakra? They have nodes and waves. So there's two pieces to this. There's the chunks and the waves, we can say. Or the knots, the nodes. So basically there's different lymph node collections and different nervous clusters around those. There's this thing called lymph that is basically we're mostly water. The water's diluted with some stuff. Or not diluted, but it has some stuff in it. And it ends up being lymph, right? And so we have these little channels in us that are shaped like scutoids. Scutoids. Which they call those because they're beetle-shaped. We have these channels in our endometrium that allow fluid to just kind of exist as, liquid bags, right? And then there's these areas of, like, charge and pumping and glands that are doing stuff and cleaning things out. And they're wired up to your spine, basically. And so in different places on your spine, communicate directly with different nervous clusters and hubs of motion in your body. And so you can relate these, you can use these as a map to abstract concepts and sort of, sort out how emotions hit you, etc., etc. So here's the nodes, here's the chakra. The Shepknot, Shepknot, the shape node, relevant to your environment, the basis one stands on. So the Shepknot is what has formed up to this certain point, right? The matter and the filters that reality is being seen through before you begin to exist, basically. DNA. Earthknot, the earth node, the legs and the seat, relevant to one's place in the environment and the connection to it. So it's physical, where you're at. Waterknot, the water node, which is like sacral chakra, it's like where your kidneys are. It's about filtering and cycles. Being able to get through things, return to equilibrium. Firknot, the fire node, the stomach. So what processes, what burns things? The stomach, liver, upper digestive organs. The name of the scutoid comes from the chief investigator whose surname is Escudero. He who bears a shield. Interesting. I thought it had something to do with beetles. It's probably... it might have just been the fact that it looks like a beetle. But, okay, it was actually named after the guy that makes some sense. A scutoid. Scutoid was because of resemblance to the shape of the scutum and scutellum in some insects. Oh, no, yeah, it is because beetles. Unofficially, he stated that while working on the project, the shape was temporarily called an escutoid. Oh, because... Okay. So they did the same thing. Yeah, it would also... Yeah, scutarius. Scutum. It probably means shield. Because it is shaped like a shield. Notum. Scutellum. But, yeah. We're made of grids of bugs. Patterns and patterns. Geometry talk. Yeah, I don't know much about scutoids, honestly. I'm just talking about lymph. Running in and out to do chores, so I think I'm missing key info each time. And we're just kind of going through this doc. There's so much. Is there a word for pattern? Oh, fuck. That's a hard one. There might be. No. This is something that I struggled with. I feel like I had to make one up at some point. But no, I do not have a word for pattern. There's got to be some English word for pattern. Patterns, langs, and bugs. Yeah. That's sixth plane. Um, the gold knot is the heart, the good node. It is what brings toward, which good comes from the same root as like gather, and it's like, what makes something come together. Liftknot, the air node, so your throat. Hrumknot, the space node. This is the limbic system. So this is your ability to construct physical space. Happens all up in your head. Seventh, Leuchtnot, the light node. I've talked about the pineal gland before. Thing that used to show frogs they were in sunlight that you can like hack, and see like, use it to see God. Domknot, the ninth. There actually just isn't an eighth. Oh, because they rap. That's right. It's harmonics. So the ninth, the kingdom, one's abstract and immediate domain. So in harmonics, 9 is like the I think of it as the tool number, because there's willpower. It's like rocks. I think of 9 as like, building tools. I don't know why. It's that step in our evolution basically. Then fire. But Domknot is being able to, like, the node of your dominion, basically. Your surroundings. The environment that you can build for yourself, basically. Part of your physical identity that extends past your body. Avolknot is the force. One's trials and effort required through obstacles. So this is an abstract force that is generated from you. As a result of, the resources that you have, and also the experiences that have pushed you around in the situation that you're in. Sitknot, the sight. Recognition, participation in beauty, harmony, and pattern. So Sitknot is your insight, basically. How do you tune yourself back to... beauty, harmony, being able to see the difference between... where you're at and, what is out of tune and what's in tune, etc. And then Blomknot, the flower, the 1,000-petal lotus. That's, that's the one abstract, crown chakra. This thing, yeah. This is finding this. So you can use the pineal gland and you can find this. You can find this abstract node. But so these other nodes here, like once you get above the head, are all, abstract. Because it has to do with stuff that's outside of you. What you own, what you can do and what you've done, how you can steer yourself, and what you want to see. The bugs dance... like bees will dance in a certain configuration, like in an angle relevant to where the sun is, to tell other bees where to find food. And bees operate because they're trying to fill their visual field with a flower. And so that's all that we want to do in our deep insect brain. And there's ways to do that. And you can do it with religious experience, and this is just how they say, this is how you climb that ladder, basically, to get up to the 1,000-petal lotus. You don't need to do drugs or anything, you just need to know what you're doing. Stay healthy. And then, between these nodes, right, so these are, like, physical, like, places in your body, then there's waves, and the waves are the resonant intervals between the different places in your body. So, the stoith, the place wave, that is your sense of where you are. The tailith, the tail wave, which is between your root and your sacral chakra, which is like your hips. This is where your tail would come out if you want to picture yourself with an astral tail, which your body can totally do it. That's in your mental schema. It actually helps. It can help with relaxing some muscle tension in your lower back. You want to picture that you have a tail. Your tail wave, is related to your past, your pride, your beliefs, your regrets, and your fears. Things that are, trailing behind you. The hearth wave is the containment of the fire node, right? It's willpower and confidence. So it's the gap between, like your normal state of being and your willpower. So, and then up here is the breath wave, which is the tie between your actions and your intentions. And the easiest way to do that is to control your breath, the timing of your breath. Then you get to the wing wave, and that's between your heart and your throat, and that's called the wing wave because it's where your arms come out. Actions, routines, and rhythms. The activities that you do with your hands are your wing wave. Then you get to the face wave, and that's between your throat and your third eye. And this is the filter of mind into expression. So language happens here. Different kinds of communication that aren't physical happen here. This is where abstraction, begins to communicate. And then the tether wave, which is from, your third eye up to your crown chakra. This is thought. This is what ties someone to their higher goals or self. This is all of the mental shit between, what occurs to you and how it gets processed and made sense of, basically. The tether wave, your tether to the God voice. And then the octave is your higher self because it's one more than root. Your octave is your God voice wave, meaning, the voice, the thoughts that speak through one's tether. There's a phone on either end of your tether, they call it. Tedrith, then osith, then blodith is the blood wave. So above your higher self is the context that brought you into it. Once you get to an octave, you have enclosed yourself, right? So you're a cell. Once you get into the ninth wave beyond, your bottom to top, you are now a cell in a blood vessel, right? There's branching probability that happens, and there's context that you play a part in among these things. That is your blood wave. There's your context. It can be your physical lineage. It could be the purpose and the history that led up to a certain point. But that is seen as bigger than your higher self. It is what your higher self is contained within. It is the veins that you are a cell in, essentially. The bigger purpose that you're along for the ride for. And then there's the tide wave, the push-pull of forces on one's psyche and experience. So there's what leads up to you, and then the 11th, the tide wave. These are the tides that you're pushing against. This is the present, struggle and all that. And then the shine wave, sheeneth, is the beauty, glory, and good of existence. This is the sun on the horizon, basically, where the blood wave is what led up to you. The tide wave is what you're going through right now, what you're pushing against right now, and the shine wave is the light in the distance that you're trying to push through to get to. And these last three, notice that the God that talks to the God that gives you ideas, the context that led up to you, that shaped how you interpret the ideas, the struggles that you go through, and the end goals that you're trying to reach that will bring you through those struggles, these things are all considered part of you. Like, you as a being are defined not just by your physicality and not just by, your thoughts, but also by the struggles that surround you and make you up. And so that's, the important part of all of this is their idea of the self doesn't just stop where your physicality ends. It intrinsically includes things that every other person has that we need to acknowledge that every other living thing has, and treating those as an intrinsic part of self. So people can, can have a better sense of, where they are. There's different visions, different places that they can find. The Thousand Petal Lotus of Kundalini Awakening. The Elblossom, the All Blossom. The Drakafogel, the Dragon Bird. The Shadowhund, the Shadow Hound, a dark beast in pursuit of something. Vandals identify heavily with Drex in the universe above them, and the Heaven Ocnapus, the heaven of the sharp clouds. They see expression of the waves between their physical nodes as a projection of a higher being. This is so interesting. Thank you. I put so much fucking effort into throwing the dogs these ideas. They also have fast days. I just want to talk about fast days. Fasting is not. It's actually used to just be a thing that people would do. Like someone would wake up, and they'd be like, "I'm not feeling the hottest," and someone would be like, "Oh, we have all this bread and beans," and they'd be like, "I'm gonna fast today. I think I'm just gonna do that." And they'd be like, "Okay, suit yourself," and then it became more of a religious practice of like, "Yeah, I think I'm feeling good today. I think I can fast today. I think I can go that. I think I can push myself like that." So it's like handicapping yourself and trying to push yourself and just challenge yourself. It became that, if you do something hard to you for God, for like a higher purpose, then, you're strengthening those waves, right? Starving for a short amount of time actually does work out your like part of your immune system and like autophagy and systems like that for a little bit, and it used to just be a thing in culture. And now you gotta have your good fucking balanced breakfast. Fast days. Yeah, no, the sun just speeds by, just swings by. That's what time on Oknap is like. But on Oknap, days happen so fast to how it happens to them that it's like a flicker. And so like dawn, day, and dusk, it's just like a constant like frame rate like flickering. And so when they change the angle of where they want to see light, it's like there's like these different frame rates that they can tune themselves to that determine how light iridescently reflects off of Drek. Sun just fucks the wind, basically. They have fast days. They also never die. Let's see. So, in Anglic, they might just fast for a day, and usually devote most of that day to rest. They tried to establish this sort of thing as a Sabbath. You go hard and you do whatever you got to do, but Sunday and Saturday night, you just lay around, don't eat too much, chill. Having long periods of fasts, especially in spring, coming out of winter when you're eating like grains and fermented bullshit and like just salt constantly. You want to filter that shit out of you. So you do stuff that's more fasty. You'll limit the amount of stuff you're eating. You're eating more fresh foods that occur in spring, so you can reset your body, get a lot of the junk out. And that's where things like Lent come from. The sun is a kestrel, just a big fuck off kestrel that sits on the horizon like a twig. Yeah. Sunday fasts are for the sun giving you energy. So they believe in photosynthesis. They'll just kind of not eat and then just spend some time out in the sun just chilling, just warming up. Monday fasts are for the moon. Tuesday fasts are for Tu. Wednesday for Woden. Thursday for Thuner. Friday for Freya. It's rare people fast on a Saturday because that is their designated cleaning day. They're probably going to be working a lot. But if you do fast on a Saturday, you gotta devote that whole day to like doing cleansing rituals and shit. You gotta be cleaning. I don't have much of a section on animal husbandry. The doc just kind of ends here. They would have chicken and ducks. They would have sheep for wool. They would have a kind of bison cow thing that they work more than they eat. Like the meat's too tough. They catch many different kinds of fish. They have a lot of fish. That's it. I think I had another doc where I talk about like the food they eat. I think the Vandalic doc talks a lot about the food that they eat. Yeah, here's the food groups of Dogland. They have their first group is greens, stalks, roots, and fruits. And they have grains, beans, seeds, and nuts. And then shrooms, microbes, meats, and fat. So other things that are like living material. So, this is for like soft planty things. This is for more hardy planty things. This is for meatier things. And then this is like for taste. Group 4 is for taste. So group 1, they have weak, able, and strong is how they sort things. So like weak stalks are celery, kohlrabi, rutabaga. Able stalks are like fennel or rhubarb, things that have like flavor to them. Strong stalks are onion and garlic, things that got a lot of flavor. Same thing with roots. Weak roots, potatoes, so just starch. Able roots, carrots and sweet potato. They got some characteristics to them. Strong roots are ginger and turmeric, have like a lot of flavor. Yeah, and so fruits, they sort, some things that we consider vegetables, they'll sort as fruits, like bell peppers, cucumbers. Tomatoes and melons and squash and avocado, they'll sort in like the same category. And strong fruits are the ones that are the most tart and the most sweet, so like berries, citrus, apples, pears, grapes. Seeds, like, there's grains, there's beans, there's seeds, and there's nuts. And you can just have those be like their category with their own subcategories. Group 3 is life. So yeast, ferments, preserves. That is the most important thing to them, is microbes. They'll eat more microbes than meat. They'll genetically engineer, not genetically engineer, but, ferment things, ferment certain kinds of foods in certain ways to make sure they get all of the nutrients they can from just bugs. Bacteria, bugs, shrooms, many mushrooms, also includes dry yeasts. So microbes, so I don't know how they would, but they would start to recognize that microbes and mushrooms are the same thing at some point. They'd group them closer together than with meat and fat. So, flesh is sort of pretty far down on the list as far as food groups go, because you got to do a lot of fucking work. And fat, oils, animal fat, cheese, yeah. And then, their flavor groups, they recognize herb, so things that are aromatic, spice, things that are more, flavorful, acid, and sweet. Yeah, then one more thing about the culture is the bicameralism. I mentioned that Dogland basically functions with someone's mind kind of getting thrown around between different bodies, like season to season. They recognize consciousness, especially in deeper, like, Vandalic tribes. They would recognize consciousness with the two parts, the leek and the ansu. The leek is the body. Like in Zelda. It's named after the lich. That's named after the same kind of word. The leek. And then the ansu is the voice. It's where os comes from. And someone who is who operates this way is an ansulik. Ansuliku. Someone who is, or a twenheaded. Twihaubed, means they're bicameral, basically, two-headed. And so, there's various amounts of integration that people will have to their identity, but everyone sort of recognizes that there is a body and there is a voice, and these can be congruent, these can be sort of incongruent. These can change, and you just gotta kind of get used to the different variations of these. Here's some similar chakra-ish stuff I was working on here. Once Ansu may be individually named, or the leek may be part of a group with a tulpa or a cult, people often depict or share images or works based on each other's ansuos, that's plural. There is evidence that people's ansuos can share information without their leekos interacting. The ansu can affect a leek with different physical sensations, which the ansu supposedly controls. Yeah, the Ansu is an unconscious element of the mind, solving problems and storing memories for the individual. The Ansu plans and speaks to the leek only when they have to know what to do. They consult with their Ansu in times of stress and can hear and feel their presence around them, often informing them of the things that they're not conscious of. So the dog people have like personas, and it is an essential part of their psyche. They can't operate if they don't acknowledge their persona. Yeah, there's some more stuff about Ruof. So this is a dog sound, right? Ruof. I also spell it with a V. But this is a dog sound, clearly. Ruof. It also fits the pattern. And I don't know if anyone's picked up on this pattern yet. I think I've spelled it out. I'm not sure. But let's count down here. So if we look at do I have PIE? I have this language. Take me to the numbers. Take me to the numbers. Load, please. Oh, there it is. No. You must have a persona. Yeah, in Dogland. I mean, you don't... Your persona could just be you. You could just be like, I am my own voice. And you'd be basically Jesus. But, you know, not everybody's Jesus there. So, in Akhenaten, this is the word for 5. They live on Jupiter, which is the 5th planet from the sun. The Ruvovians have 4 planets, and one of them is Mars. Which is the 4th planet from the sun. We live on Earth, which is the 3rd planet of the sun. So we got this, right? If we want to spell that with the W. See where I'm going with this? We also have Ovut, which we haven't been to yet, which is, it's Eggland, but it's also 2. Yeah. I don't need to do any of that. Okay. But that's how the universe is in this. The universal planets in this are named. This is fucking my mind. I can't wait for Eggland. I think I'll get to that point at some point in Pan. This is fucking my mind. I'm glad. My goal with this fiction and with this alt history stuff is to make it sort of a like outer Matryoshka layer, which our current reality can sort of nest itself in. Oh, this is the Lord's Prayer in Vandalic. Ata unsarza in hymnis. Wichain namodins. Quiman theodenasustins. Werthan Wiljadins. Swayin hymnen. Jan erthon. Chleiba sentina unsarza. Yifuns et hestag. Jach aflet uns thachti skuldos habend. Swejach huis afledent. Themai skulos unsarros. Jachni fradragend uns at freisinai. Ac lausi uns af ubilis. Swadins bios theodenasus de aflas. Thadins wes theodenasas de aflas de chrothas fri aivas uch aivos santas. That's I have a few different versions of this, of course. Oh, here's a Thoth prayer. Fuliadu minda likahama o ferkis. Fuliadu minza likahama ferthezain lachtisen. Did I do that one again? Or is that just, Quim utablostis, sais skin thach the derkithor. This is kind of not standardized. Quemi uta haulos in thesis asebnos frauios rikinsent. Haiti iaubi namomis ek saseben. Threes, pedwar, fimth, sech, seven, achtel, neun. Binamomis isemis ek is haito helpanamis. Free thou mek us nazi thou af derkithos nachtisol. Woden, Jacquel, Afrot, Ukgoro, Vasan, Chastar, Yeshua. Binamomis isemis ekbedizis. Free thou mek af derkitho, ukfiliadomis medlechten. God. This one I have not learned enough. But, yeah, this follows basically everything. Oh, they have, their days are a bit different. They have sun, moon, but their tier day is Fordag, fire day. Wednesday is Watordag. Thursday is Luftdag, air. Friday is Earthdag, Earth Day. Saturday is Tungladag, which is Planet Day, or Star Day. And then Sangudag, which is Song Day, which this is an extra day for if their months are stretching too much. And see, they have more of a lunar calendar than a solar calendar, and they divide months into 4 weeks. And so if it's taken another couple days to get around to the week thing, they'll add Song Day. Where, the pattern is run out and you're just left with like, well, let's just vibe. A lot of this is just kind of done backwards from Anglic. I tried to make a chart based on how you would do case endings with different prepositions and what the meanings would be, but I don't have enough, I don't know enough, like, semantics to break into this very much. So then, also, lately, so I used Anglic in some of the etc. verse shit. Oh wow, it found it. Yeah. And I think in the transcript, oh yeah, here's the one I just went to. This is Anglic. Dogli chama, Lina, your dog body. Waves. Ikemakan goda idas? Am I making good waves? Am I one who is to make good waves? Ik em seen and Sral seen indik. Fuck, what does that say? I am bright and radiant and waves. I don't know. Tried so hard to translate that shit. Well, here we go. I am making good waves. Ik em wenden word to don. Ik em wenden song to dom. Ik em neden nek min doung. I turn the word to what is done. I turn the song to dominion. I I need nothing but what I have done. Ik am neden. I am needing. Nek min doing. Except my doings, basically. Ik am Adam. Ik am Saul. I am breath. I don't remember what Saul is. Ik am seft and eth. I breathe soft and easily. Ik am ne eten artwe and af echt. Wait. Ik am ne eten artwe and af echt. I don't eat before 2 or after 8. That's just a specific thing. That's intermittent fasting. You are what you do? Yeah. Soul? Oh, yeah, that would be soul. You know that. Wow. Can't believe. Okay. Ik am eten well to health. I eat to my health. I eat well to my health. Fuck. I am... Ik am thanken. I am thankful. I am thanking. Ik am lucky. Even method. I am... Even method is symmetry. I am thankful that I am a lucky harmony. Or a lucky symmetry. Tailith. Tail wave. I am new. I am now. I think there's supposed to be more there. But yeah. These are different like Anglic mantras. I was gonna go to the transcript though, because there is more Anglic there. And I think it's been translated. I can't remember if I translated it or if I gave the translation out, but there is definitely see if I find that. Where's yeah, here's one. Afrika, mina tung för English blir något tal med tanken. Thank you. I speak I'm fluent enough in Anglic, thank you very much. Yeah, Agdinas Vandaras das Neves. And that's in Vandalic, yeah, but your Vandalic is not. True, my friend. But I have to go out and drink with Freya, when Freya's their friend's name. Wizzo and Samina Freya, and then this is in Anglic. Have fun, girlfriend, basically. And then Dolik the sound. And that means I'm going to, and then see you later. Dolik. Like, when I think of Dolik is something that you could, like, say easily and just makes sense as, like a sign-off. Like, oh, you should do this. Dolik. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. There's, oh, fuck, it was Tyler, the Creator's show, where, Rich White Dad was, like, a sketch, and there's a guy who comes home saying he's got, like, a date for prom, or he's got a date with, like, somebody, and then this other guy's like, oh, man, she's so hot, and then he just starts, like, they just bleep half of what he says, but he's, like, describing, like, what he would do to her, and then this other guy's just nodding along, and he's like, I'm gonna do that. And that's what I think of. Oh, boy. Is there more, Anglic shit? Fuck. Oh, yeah, this. Swaho is on these Bikortho. So this is Vandalic for Akswaho was on these Bikortho. So, this is Earth. Keep in mind, these are dog people. They're mostly dog people. Dog people made up most of the language in this. So this is Earth. Earthwo. Is like, this, basically. On is on. Wes is like to be. Huo is how. Swa is so. And this is but. Or, you know, yeah. So, and so, how it is on this. Keep in mind, they're dogs. What would they call Mother Earth? This is This means that's how it is on this bitch of an earth. Swaho is only bikortho. And it's basically if you have fallen from like God or tradition or practice, that means you've fallen to earth, right? And so if someone's having trouble, but they're not like, with the spirit and they're not like following the obvious things that you should be doing, it's like, well, you've just been left to nature. You're lawless. That's how it is on this bitch of an earth. Like, it's sort of like a dismissal of like I'm not gonna help you because like you're so far removed from like what I'm like accustomed to. That like, if I explained anything to you that would help you, you wouldn't do it. Is how that's supposed to be. It's like a JC's one of those fucking militant spiritualists. Casey says, Thratendik, Thumik hektan elitas and Zanamik, Belathian mid Laudwisa, and that can hechlik over me like a hypocrite. So, this is where it gets like sort of Spanglish-ish, because the idea is like, these are their first languages when they were kids, and as you grow up, in any like culture, if you grow up speaking one thing like as a kid, but you get into more adult society and you learn, more intricate words, encountering them in the language that you didn't speak as a kid, but you know it there first. It's just natural when you like default to like, I'm just gonna start fucking going off. You'll still have those words in your vocabulary from a different language. You'll just spit them out. So I just kind of figured it would be more realistic if, some of the more stinging words that Casey would use like just didn't get translated. So thratendik, this means like I'm tired of this, or throat means like I'm getting throated, like this is choking me. This is tightening me. Thumek hekten elitist, like you call me elitist, and then Belathian, fuck, what is that? Lath? Oh, what is Belath? I don't remember. Ah, it's not there. Belath? I have no idea. Fuck, I don't remember what this means. Belathian. Ah, what is la? What is lath? Loathe? I feel like it would have something to do with loathe. Make fuck. It would be something like talking down to. And Laudwise, Laudwise is culture, like a people ways, like people wise, basically. And akan, act, or do like. Herklik, so that means high. Highly. So, you act high over me like a hypocrite. So, yeah, you call me, and then belittle me over culture, and act higher than me like a hypocrite, is what this says. So, I'm tired of this. You call me elitist, and then you insult me with culture and act higher than me like a hypocrite. JC's like, Laudwise and Kepen Dina Laudwise and Kepen Dina Rotas bet the Yendal to losen Al Dina self and Ergian fortu Ernjan Gesellschaft standing. Laudwise, culture and keeping your rotas, like ways, customs, is the Yendal. Dal is like peace, and Yang is like against Yendel to Lozen, with the Yendel to Lozen Alvina self. Basically, this is the only thing that keeps you from losing fuck. Lath means hateful in Old English. Okay. That makes sense. Fuck, I don't remember this. Yendal. What was Yendal? It's been so long. Again, it also means the again piece. Tolosanal, the in itself. Culture and shit is okay, no. Opposite. It means opposite. The against thing. Duh. Culture in keeping things keeping the rotes is the opposite to losing all of yourself and fucking to earn Gesellschaft, to earn better social standing, basically, is what this means. The andegradet ure kin caped de loud ways in this misbruiken din das for to earning Gesellschaft standing and do with that. The only reason our family kept the culture, kept our culture is because they missbruket hin thochtas fortu, is because they misused its ideas to earn social standing. And do it that. And you know that. The Lawu being believing in English of fairy tales, they know the source. The Lawu don't believe in Anglic fairy tales. They know the source. That one's pretty easy. So JC is like chiding. So this scene is basically JC trying to chide Casey for not for being a fucking heathen, and like just it's kind of like the prodigal son story, but it's between like two childhood friends. They're just like, you're just out fucking partying, just being a fucking suck up, literally. And Casey's like, there's literally the only point of like keeping religious was to was that our family used to gain social status and power. So that's kind of bullshit, and it's just not really a hill you want to die on. JC says, if this was fairy tale, when it standeth on the standings, so there was standing. If this was all a fairy tale, we wouldn't be where we are right now, is what it's saying. And that canonically is the fact that their family is so well connected, and those tangential connections end up being really fucking important to who they know socially, is how that works out. So, if this all was a fairy tale, if there was nothing to this, we wouldn't be where we are right now. And there's also the canonical addition of the fact that these are literally game pawns of the gods, and JC knows that they're literally on a game board being played by gods at this point, and says, like, you can't just be saying shit like that because you know it's true. Casey says, Wibithnik Luki. So we are only, Nick is not but, we are not but lucky. We are just lucky. We are not made from dog magic. Hundvika. We are not gods. And then JC says, Ike which is part of their mythology, which means I am the voice, and so are you. I am a god, and so are you. And then Casey's like, Africa. Like, so imagine, like you get into a heated argument and someone just like fucking quotes the Bible at you and quotes some fucking benign Bible verse just because it has one or two of the same words that you said. So Casey's like, Africa. Kepen no trepen and track, and touchspreken that it's rather dasfolk. So this is, keep to tripping And what is Tatsprechen? And keep to tripping and preaching at the streets, idiots. So dumb homeless people, basically, is what Casey is saying. So fuck off, go back to tripping and preaching to homeless drug addicts. And JC's like, why don't you go suck more human dick for social status? Gasuka maraguma esters verstandung. And Casey's just like, and then hangs up. So that's, and then, JC, this basically means, like, I love you like a sibling, don't do this to yourself. You know, like, whispers that to themselves. So that was a fun thing to put together with Anglic, is having it be used in a way that is more of just like people just shouting it at each other. I really want to do more stuff like that in the coming year, where I'm using language for more of these like conversational things. But there's some other things that I've used conlangs for. One of them is the I am trilingual mix, which starts with, oh wait, where is it going? There we go.
A trilingual inscription featuring the Aknep script.
Let's find the script.
This discovery can shed a new light on the mysterious culture and the mythical bird figure these tablets are adorned with. According to curator DeTroya, the inscriptions read,
Asmi, tragisargistis, triduo anulets, retusui truhisio ungenechisi, smi serkis, smi perej legios, teviskei tuos, te iperes legipos, smi chanques que havies que hostes, pretos spectrum petris and dracones, que vitugeos, que querros, sis jesse, que querse, betistem him care iem hito quer, smi regios hoiu cods and clehus vichos. Asmi elanuna kis pereheros, smi kakudupo theos el chun space on theos un chlewen min boegen min germelos, smi asen treuis gernum mutom.
I can't find the gender one.
My mind's making me lose it. So I found God and I seduced him. Pillow talk with no clothes, told me only knows. And I was slow with what he showed, but I got it. My code's a thoughty user. I found that God has introduced her. Between trading zones, rival nodes, we bellow. Fell into a throne and it got me. I am the all. Ne credi quos per westna. Astante se mu wisu. And I'm waiting when the dirty. As me the Eus questo asi. Word I in word mysteries. Astante junkies mysteries. And I'm waiting when the dirty. As me the Eus questo asi. The perfect 53-2 ratio. I'm the vision in the distance.
Oh, what is this one? The Heartling. Where the fuck is the gender one?
The bones and the birds and the branches. A full spectrum of feathers on a dragon. And every been there and done that has been had. I've mastered that bastardized.
Yeah.
All the magic. I'm authority, a power cord in any key. I'm the very source of the Anunnaki. I'm a top-down theory. Every conspiracy is hearing me and feeling the need to scream heresy. There's a kernel of truth to every myth in a grand circle where all that shit lives. You ain't now, you got to wait to relate with it. But take it back into the fifth and we can play with it. My mind's making me lose it. So I found God and I seduced him. Pillow talk with no clothes, told me all he knows. And I was slow with what he showed, but I got it. My code's a thought user. I found that God has introduced her. We dove down the rabbit hole as far as it goes. And I don't know what I was shown, I was told I was really Joe's. Nu credi quos per westna. Something is in Moussou. And I'm waiting when the dirty. I say the Eus was so easy. Word I in with the trees. Something is on his trees. And I'm waiting when the dirty. I say the Eus
Damn.
För främre lyfta, with rentway. Ikem sis färra sedda dunna kunka naune. För främre, ikem purski staff halli splitten natten nida fram där på ban. Ikem bannasen tågelasen nastas. För fader way och väder om en drakas. En del wissom, en dong, en was, en dåd. Nick betestat, pastor diktat, willikond. Ikem är då demat majen koden eller klinsor. Ikem eller Anunnakis värresår. Ikem toppton fort eller toppton pot. Benäcker mecken haben nida hoven will dot. Je puis kan och tre with disen eller sagois. En gretter ringse de eller wunit. Du en dikten maith imketan. Akim ni mato fifta uten playa na.
So, this was whenever we make big breakthroughs in translating old shit, we find trilingual inscriptions. So one of the ways that we found out cuneiform, out of all the different ways that it was written, was we found a trilingual inscription that was a monument to some, king or some shit. And it was the same passage that was written in 3 different languages. It was written in 3 different languages, all in cuneiform script. So we could tell, what the common linguistic elements between them were, and what the differences in how they use phonetics were different between these. And we figured out cuneiform that way. And since cuneiform, and let me see if I can find that inscription. Trilingual, it was Xerxes. Xerxes 1 inscription at Van, the XV inscription. Yeah. This isn't what I remember seeing, but apparently this is the one. Old Persian, Babylonian, and Elamite. So I figured since I was doing something that was based on like the old Sumerian, see if I can find the bird servant. The Ninurta. Yeah, these guys. Yeah. So since I was doing something based on that, similar to the Rosetta Stone. Yeah, the Rosetta Stone's another example. Since I was doing this based on that, I figured I would do conlang version that did 2 of my most developed conlangs with the same verse in English in the middle of it, so that it would be easy to like break apart and translate. But I also have here, this is basically the transliteration of all these lyrics.
According to curator de Troya, the inscriptions read,
Asmi, trekis erkistis, triduo anules, recesui chuhizio ungenekhisie, smi serkis, smi pelej legios, jewiskei tuos de ipersejupos, smi jankes koi havies koi hostes, petur spectrum petris andracones, koi vitu geos, koi queros sis jese, koi querste bedistem hin carre iem hidoquer, smi regios hoiu cords and clehos vicius, Asmi el Anunnakis berreheros, smi kaku dupotelos eutum spison teos un slewen mim te egn mim ger in melos, smi asen dreuis cronumen mutom, Kumedjek serkiu uezonte te quas nemeg mia leden hin, swed berpieja crime gieme leden hin. There's that. So that's Akhenaten, which I haven't talked about that much. This is impressive, like, wow. Thank you. So then the chorus is the same as English, and then it gets to the hook. Oh fuck, where is it? Nikrejikos perewesna Asante sema witsuwa No waiting when it terji Asmedios katsuasi What did I hear with them for trees? Asante junkies next trees No waiting when it terji Asmedios katsuasi. Okay. Then it does it in English. And this whole thing is about basically the like power chord dragon bird vision. Perfect fit, the 3-to-2 ratio. I'm a vision in the distance you ain't got a way to know. I'm perfect. I'm the first decision of divine division of above from below. That's the I think the third first or second day in like Genesis. the division of the firmaments. I'm the bones and the birds and the branches. People see images of branches and bones with like bird figures emerging from them when they're in certain mental states. Full spectrum of feathers on a dragon. You know the beginning of fucking Pokemon, the last end of the first episode of Pokemon where you see Ho doesn't appear for another generation, just flying over, just being a rainbow. That's a vision people see, is the big rainbow bird. And every been there and done that has been had, have mastered that, bastardized it while I'm at it. Being the top quark, essentially. I'm authority, a power coordinated key. I'm the very source of the Anunnaki. Every top-down theory of a conspiracy is hearing me and feeling a need to scream heresy. The ability to recognize the strategic and intricate nature of humanity creates a fear that someone could be better at it than you, and that your whole life is actually just planned. There's a kernel of truth to every myth and a grand... If there's a kernel of truth to every myth and a grand circle where all that shit lives, then you and I ain't got a way to relate with it. So, basically, if there is a place where absolute truth is a thing, and if there is something that there is to know and to be sure about, it's not something that us in our existence would ever have a way to comprehend. But take it back into the fifth and we can play with it. Meaning take it into ego space and make it compatible to, the fifth plane, our expression, our linguistic plane. Then we can think about it. We can toy with it. We can relate it to things. So we can work off of truth as a concept, but truth isn't an extant thing, the way other concepts are. It's only... Case, do you ever sleep? Oh, yeah, I get like 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night. Nap some days. This does take a lot of time though. I did most of this translating on stream though. That was fun. So Anglic, this is the one that I've talked about more. Sounds... This is the one that I've talked about. På främre fifta, with frey and way. Ikem sith färre sätta denna kuka naune. På främre, ikem först kistaff halli splitten natten i det fram där bovan. Ikem bannasen fågelasen nästas. Full fado sjöo fedorumen drakas. So, just to explain some vocabulary here. Bones, fogeles, birds, astas, the stars. Or no, branches, ast. Yeah, ast is branch. Fardo is like hue or hint or color. Wheel is wheel, color wheel. A full color wheel of feathers on a dragon. And every being, wisung and doung, every being and doing, one has been and done. I have bested that. Ik betest that, and then bastardized it. I have made it bastard. That while I do it. So I've mastered it and bastardized it while I do it. And I made all of that rhyme. So let's back up. With rail way. Ikem sit färra sedda dunna kunkanaune. För främre, ikem pörskista falli splitten natten i där fram där på ban. Ikem bannasen fågelasen nästas. För fader way och feather om en drakas. En deloism, en dong, en was en dod. Ik betestat, bastard ik dat skilikond. Ikem då dem att majen koden eller klinsor. Ikem eller Anunnakis värre sår. Ikem toppton fort eller toppton bort. Benäcker mecken haven i där floven will dot. So, this section. Case, where's the song I need it? Case, this is a song I need in my life. Okay. This is called I Am. And there's 2 versions of it. You can find it at case.dog/music. So, http case. Actually, case.dog/jkql. You can find one version of it, and then https case.dog/ That one, I believe, is the other one. Let's see if that works. Does it work? Yes. So, the Bandcamp version of Crowside has the Kuro's Conlang mix is the bonus track, or a bonus track on it, and it has all the lyrics there. It's really fucking not standardized because I just kind of threw it together. The state of Aknepen right now is very, very loose. I want to keep explaining things. So I showed off frem before as a root that means done. Fullfremde means fully done. Complete, perfect, fully done, fifth. Ik am fullfremde fifte, perfect fifth. Withworth. Withworth is with, against, with, and then worth is against. So worth against things. A ratio. 3 on 2. 3 on 2. Ik am the seeth. I am the sight. Verre, far. Sida, which is that, or which that. Du ne kun, you cannot. Knauen, no. Ne, no. Like no, like negative. So I'm the perfect fifth. A ratio of 3 on 2. I am a sight far away, which you cannot know. No, and I use this to rhyme with verre and twee. With 3 on 2. Ik am ziet verre se de denne kunken nauwen. So that's just to rhyme that. For fremd, perfect. Ik am first kistaf. I am the first choice of halia, holy, splitting of the neither, lower, from the buvan, from the above. The bovens. If you're a fucking old-time memer like I am. Ik am banas and foglas nastas. I went over all this. But just listen for these words and see if you recognize.
With it, but take it back. My code to user. I found the God is into two. With and way. Ik am ziet verre said the dunne kunken nauwen.
For fremd, ik am first kistaf halia, splitten up the neither from the buvan. Banas and foglas nastas. Voor vader gweel verder roemen drakas. In dele wisdom, in dom, en was en dood. Ik betest dat, barste dik, dat wil ik doen. Ik hem erdo demes mijn coordinelle klinson. Ik hem ele Anunnakis werre soort. Ik hem top doen sorte de top doen plot. Bin nek hier en mek en hebben niet de flow en will dot. Just couple more explanations. Dwildoth is is heresy basically. Chloen is to make something loud, to shout something loud. Need is like a carnal, like a reflexive need, like a want. Hiren is to hear. Yeah, every top-down theory, every top-down thought, every top-down plot. Conspiracy is top-down plot. So yeah, I need the non-English version of the song. That is on Crowside. That is this. Crowside Jovian Whistler. So you can find that if you go to case.dogslife.music or go to the second link I sent. It's that one. You'll have to download the full album to get it. I'm sorry. It will be $4.32 at least. But yeah. If this kernel try with this, if there's a kernel of truth, let's keep listening.
The ring said the Elewonit, doing dick done my eighth in Katan. I came to Mato 50 out and play now.
My mind's making me lose it.
So I found God and I seduced him.
Pillow talk with no clothes, told me all he knows, and I was slow with what he showed, but I got it. My code's without a user. I found that God is introduced her. Between through the rabbit hole as far as it goes, and I don't know what I was shown.
But I'm God now.
My thoughts made me deny it.
So I found thoughts so I could fight them. Between trading tones, rival notes, we bellowed, fell into a drone and it caught me. I am the all. Negreji course Peter Westna. Asante Ace ever whistle. No it didn't swan it energy. I speed the use cause so I see. We're dealing with temperatures. Asante Ace talkies back trees. No it didn't swan it energy. I speed the use cause so I see.
Yeah. And then this here is the emerald tablets. The emerald tablets in yeah. So Asmi Dios Kasuasi is something that gets said a lot in Pan. Also, oh, where's the other one? Where's the other one that I half did? Lyrics.
I treće ne se uvedu, ne uvedmiju uveć kontuikos. Usmi usuti svasute jipos. I treće ne se uvedu, ne uvedmiju uveć kontuikos. Usmi usuti svasute jipos.
Yeah. That, please make another song like this, but include it as a single. You'd make millions. Next album, I'll do a song or two just entirely in Conlang. I actually want to translate all of Elemental and release that single version as like, and release that version as a single version. I didn't get very far with translating Elemental. I barely made a dent in this. El centos tekninom sechom perdetuum, which hingos ante jomis coscande iskelom. Let's see. Siliapi moi reap. Fuck. Yeah, I do not remember the rhythm of this. But I would love to do that. In sometime in the next year, you will hear a single version that is Elemental, and it'll be mixed a little better and sung a little better too, because I get way harder into this when I'm doing it in Naknepen than when I'm doing it in English.
Mjodekti polo, speja mi suhrom, queri ma sande tomi posti me jusum. Moinjeni omni tomai nane guaste na udupo, usmi wasote jipos.
This is another one of my favorite, like, phrases. I don't know if I have it in, let me find the, let's see. Yes, I need made up dog language rap in my life. Well, we gotta do more. That's actually bird language. That's actually this. Oh, here it is. I was looking for this. Fuck. So this is bird language. It's kind of small on the screen, but let's see if I can open the image. Hiosasti. Hiosipos asti su upos ko his upos so ipers. Whichwes sung semis hrimnichis. Whichwes anses koresmacha madstopis oinis asont. Whichwes anses bresmacha qua trestnach. Socholasti Petrus anis Mutno asti Chet Chetostos anis. Huatant Berrenti anis. Jujmo Chelenti anis. Mudstepis Witchus Sirkis There's that word. Sirkis. Sirk is like from circle. All of their words for perfect or cycle or ideal come from sirk, which is their word for circle. Their word for 360 because they have base 12 counting. Oh, I happen to be right at the numbers. Awesome. Their word for 60 is urk. And so their word for 360 is it means 6 arcs. And so since their beginning of the word for 6 is seches, they call it serkel. It really sounds like a bird is saying this. Yeah, I tried to make it sound really, really bird-like. Really, like, tweety, basically. Like, it has that sound to it. Yeah. That's what I was going for. It sounds chittery. Like, even the main character, fucking, Skyfeather Jeerbird, like, that just sounds like bird sounds. Also, you can write Akhenaten in Greek and Hebrew as well. Them trill consonants. Yeah. Torerek quotintesitim. Love it. I gotta translate, Uda Father to this. I don't think I ever have. What is this? Ajiji? Ajiji and... Fuck. Sounds like a sparrow. Kinda. I don't have enough renderings. How long have you been doing this? I've been doing conlangs in various configurations since I was 12, and I'm 26 now, so about 14 years. 12? 14 years. Yeah, math. Oh, there's all this music. I have so much music terminology. Sim, twech, trich, tech, drech, dren, leudich, and zeuch. Yawum, dechrom, pruxum, luyawum. What is this? Why is that so funny? What is this? Quetutriskel? Quetuskel. Zochtenstrung. Look back at my notes for shit. Only like 3 months after. Yeah, I don't remember half of this shit. That's why I write it down. So, the mantra for immortality is my favorite thing because it's just an example of how conjugations work. And it uses the... Where the fuck is the participle? It's shortened in this. It's shortened to s. There's also a wus form, but it's not necessary. It just kind of gets shortened to s. So there's sme. Sme is how you say I am currently. Sme, and smie is we are. Us is you were. Usn't. So basically the way that these work, you could add wes onto each of these instead of s, and you would get Wisme would be I am. Wisme was something. Wusontum would be, so this is ont, so ing. It's like a perpetuation thing. And then tum is the accusative. You'd end in So you were saying an object. What you were referring to is just a grammatical thing. So wusontum means a thing that is being. So ismi wusontum, wusontis. So this is also, wusontis, being, but using, instead of the using the possessive is. So if wusontum wusontis is a being of being, and then where is, and I think there's also the sont is again the conjugation, but then it goes into dative, which is to, like to the end, to do something to an end, basically. So wismi means wes means like a dweller, someone who stays. It doesn't necessarily mean to exist, it means to dwell in a place. So to refer to your soul as something that dwells. Wismi, I am. Wismi or asmi mean I am. Wismi means more so I fill a vessel. I am within a space. That's what wismi means. So wismi, wisontum, I am a being. Wismi wisontum wisontis, I am a being of being. Wismi wisontim wisontis wisontei is I am a being of being to be. Like to being. I am a being of being, dative, like, and then to the ends of being. I am a being of being, and then pos is after. So, wisontei pos, to be after, right? So you assemble that whole thing. Wisontum, I am. Wisontum, or no, wismi, I am. Wisontum, I am a being. Wismi, wisontum, wisontis, I am a being of being. And then wismi, wisontim, wisontis, wisontei pos, I am a being of being after. That's what that means. And it is the Anglic chant for immortality. Or not the Anglic, the Aknepan chant for immortality. The Angles probably know it too. So yeah, you should start conlanging. It's really cool, and there's a lot of resources for it, and I can, it's like the easiest way to start with conlangs, before you do any work, before you come up with anything, make a Google Doc, put a title, put an introduction with or instead of introduction, write like goals, then make a section for sounds. Make a section for how you write it, and then make a section for nouns, verbs, and then different parts of speech on top of that. Once you have those few things, start a pronoun chart. That will break you into how to grammar. And then once you have that done, you can sort of back engineer it into, different noun cases and stuff. But easiest way to do a conlang, start in that order. Write your goals down, figure out how it sounds, figure out how to write those sounds, and then figure out the general structure of nouns and verbs. And just make a bare bones skeleton and then start filling it in. That's basically what I've done with all of these. It's really interesting. Conlangs it's a really good learning. It's a good way to guide research too. You can learn a lot from it. Eat myself a chip. It's 5:14. I've been streaming for more than... My timer's cut off. I've been streaming for 3.25 hours. Yeah. So, I think I'm gonna be signing off and go back to my roots of acting like someone who was born in 1993 and charge my phone, eat spicy chips, and lie. So, is there something I could show off? Because I want to, like, show something before I just take off. Butter chicken. In case you have too much power. I've been watching too much Snap Cube. Oh my god. Thanks for showing up, Cheshire Creeper. What a great stream. I'm gonna load this one thing up. I don't even have to open it. I didn't have to open it. I just have to transfer it. Where is it? Where'd it go? Open with? No. Share. I'm gonna airdrop this shit. A little fried from the dog wrap. So I'm gonna show off something that's not related to Conlangs, just because I have it. It's waiting for me to. Oh no, that's the wrong. There we go. Now it's dropping. Okay. So okay. Me and my friend are doing some acoustic versions of songs that we've done before for this new EP that we have coming up. I might fuck with some of my older songs for it still. I got like another 9 days of this month until it's the new year. But come January, we want to start wrapping these things up and you know, making an album out of it, so we can learn things and play them out and have something to promo. And all that. Glad I can contribute to your conlang progression this 2019 and for more to come. Yeah, thanks so much, Swear. Like, there's so many things, because that's the thing, I have so many creative projects going on that, like, I want to just go back and touch up and do more resources for Anglic, but I never have the time. And seeing, like, other people willing to, like, do content and, like, just resources and shit in general for it is really, like, this is so crazy. Like, I like seeing stuff that I do, like, take on a new life. It's so fulfilling, just as someone who does creative shit. I'm gonna open this one song and let me know if you recognize it. If you don't, then this might sound just incredibly shitty. But here's what we have. Here's what Jared and I have so far of this one thing. Oh, and I can't fucking hear it. That's why. I'll be right back.
I don't think I'm gonna open the door right now. I'm not really down with having visitors. You can ring all you want, but I won't find out what you've been ringing about. No solicitors. It's not that it's just what I do to be rude to Jehovah's Witnesses, but that don't mean you should be thinking I'm giving a damn about what your business is. I don't think I'm gonna open the door right now.
I've heard of shut-ins, heard of hermits, heard of basement dwellers. Bodies full of stress and heads full of past sellers. The room's their fucking head, their bed is like their brain. There ain't too many they trust to get inside and leave insane. So, if you need me, I'll be in my room with the lights off. I'll be treating it like a tomb where I can play to the world for a day or two.
I don't think I'm gonna open the door right now. Not really down with having visitors. Ring all you want, but I won't find out what you've been ringing about. No solicitors. It's not that it's just what I do to be put in the rules witnesses. But to me, you should be thinking I'm giving a damn about what your business is. I don't think I'm gonna open the door right now.
It says, welcome on the floor mat, ignore that. Host is a four-letter word, but I'm sure that anybody coming on my porch thinks they're important. But I'm gonna stay indoors and avoid that. Even took the liberty to turn off my phone. No calls, no texts, cause I wanna be alone. If it's that damn urgent, this random person better put the work in to leave a memorandum at the tone of the not getting called back. Called that when I called into work and I caught flag. But if I get in a makeshift vacation, Mad Catz, Naughty Dog, PlayStation, Spiral, Slapbox, Crash Team Racing, lights off, sitting in my skivvies in the basement with 2 signs put up on the door to observe. Beware of the dog and do not disturb.
I don't think I'm gonna open the door right now. Not really down with having visitors. Ring all you want, but I won't find out what you've been ringing about. No solicitors. It's not that it's just what I do to be put in the rules witnesses. But to me, you should be thinking I'm giving a damn about what your business is. I don't think I'm gonna open the door right now.
I'm gonna be honest, I ain't got much going on, heaven for the longest. Plans are too much to handle, so I play it safe and I never make promises. So that thing last week, I said I got busy, but I couldn't sleep. And the more that I don't RSVP, the more you call me lazy. And the text you sent, read them all, just didn't say jack at all. Cause I would've snapped, that would've been bad. So face it, man, you're better off, don't hate me. I'll get to it later, maybe. Don't put it on paper, just take a hint and leave me be for like a day, please.
I don't think I'm gonna open the door right now. Not really down with having visitors. Ring all you want, but I won't find out what you've been ringing about. No solicitors. It's not that it's just what I do to be put in the rules witnesses. But to me, you should be thinking I'm giving a damn about what your business is. I don't think I'm gonna open the door right now.
I'm the type to keep curtains closed, so none of these lurkers for certain know if I'm at work or home. Am I a jerk or no? Well, I'd really prefer if I could work alone, but I couldn't do that now, could I? Wouldn't be a very good team player now, would I? Probably shouldn't call into work again and take another sick day now, should I? But shoulda, woulda, coulda does no good after the fact, so enough about that. I just wanna sit back, split a rap. I took the day off, I intend to relax, and if that's the only thing that I cross off of the list, I'ma feel real accomplished, I gotta admit. Got a thing that makes bubbles at the bottom of it. The lighter is lit, and I'ma get how I get, so
I don't think I'm gonna open the door right now. Not really down with having visitors. Ring all you want, but I won't find out what you've been ringing about. No solicitors. It's not that it's just what I do to be put in the rules witnesses. But to me, you should be thinking I'm giving a damn about what your business is. I don't think I'm gonna open the door right now.
So Jared and I wrote new verses for this song. It's going to be a very long version of No Solicitors that's all acoustic loops, kind of the same way that Weed Joke was assembled. So, we want to do basically like what we did with Weed Joke and just layer a bunch of shit over this and then have this be a bonus track. Currently, it is at 5 minutes. We want to see if we can push it over 6. and just have it be like an endless, no solicitors jam. Yeah. Do I still have fucking QuickTime 7? I gotta. It's gotta be here somewhere. There's no way I'm gonna find it. Come on. No. No, I said I was gonna finish up, but I don't want to do that yet. I want to play Weed Joke. Another day, another pain. Aches move from my bones to my brain. Let stress follow me to my bed. Deep state of restlessness. Said I'm done, I'm through with roughing it. What to do when new meds ain't cutting it? They say to rearrange my ways, but I gotta work hard, so I take hard breaks. And I got my peace of mind. I get to sleep alright. I don't need nothing nice for it smoked. In the vapors, you burn and breathe through paper. Return and leave for later. It's been there since I woke. God. I got my herbal remedies. I get through my day by day with herbal remedies. Yeah. Upright and breathing, sometimes it's more like I'm uptight and heaving. All night up in the fight for real. All halved up trying to fight the feeling. I've awoken, I hope I'm open to figure out how to cope, how I wanna convoke folks to invoke a joke or two. It's dope, convoke smoke in the prana. I got my peace of mind. I get to sleep alright. I don't need nothing night. Already slow. I'm feeling the vapors. You burn and breathe through paper. Return and leave for later. It's been there since I woke. My screen's all fucking small. Where'd it go? Body chemistry. I got my herbal remedies. Yeah. That's currently a Patreon exclusive. If you want to check out stuff that I'm doing on Patreon, like new tracks that Jared and I are doing, that's one of them from a couple months ago. That's still my favorite off this album we've been doing. I have some interesting like acoustic finger work tracks. We got some punk tracks. But We Joke is by far my favorite. But you can get that if you go to case.dog/join. You might have to scroll down a little bit to find it, but it's Weed Joke. It's got a green album cover, and God, this album's been really fun, and we're gonna have like videos and some stuff to show you once the new year rolls around. So keep a lookout for that. Also, since the year is wrapped up, my first Etc. Reverse project of this year has also wrapped up. If you go to case.dog/etcv, you can find a compiled version of my first story. Actually, no, it's not linked here yet. You actually have to go to a different story to get there. So for a compiled version of this story, you can go to either my SoundCloud, a new album in 2020 with Weed Joke. Yeah, that album's gonna be on Spotify by like spring. Want to master it, turn it up a little bit so it's got more oomph. But it's my favorite song we've done so far. The Etc. Reverse podcast, the one that had the conversations in Anglic that I translated earlier, that is available on Spotify, on SoundCloud. If I go to Anchor, yeah, it's on Anchor, which is a podcast hub. Oh no. Yeah. So you can listen to this on Spotify. It's called Etc. Reverse. There's a 5-part miniseries. It is about an hour and a half long total. That is the setup story, basically my experimental story, introducing people to the bird universe and the dog universe. If you're into world building and you want to see what stories I'm doing in the future, this is the season 0, basically, of that. But you can read all of it at case.dog/etcv, like Etc. Reverse. There's an interactive ARG, and there is a more text-based story that is about dragon birds and, them learning to communicate with robot beetles and stuff like that. So that's everything that I got going on right now. That's everything I have to talk about. I didn't get to stream Past Request this week. I was thinking about doing that today, but I didn't want to organize a thing. I just kind of wanted to talk, and it's closer to the holidays, and I usually do Conlang streams on the holidays, so I wanted to do something small, chill, go over some stuff. But this has been fun. I like just talking about things. I like just having back and forths. Swear, you know a lot about Old English. That's really cool. I've learned some things today. Thanks Cheshire Creeper for showing up. Thanks Mars. Thanks Black Cat. Thanks Swear. Thanks Lay. Thanks Cosmo Comic. Thank you Sylvia. Also Haley. Thanks everyone for showing up to the stream. This has been cool. I want to do more fictional content, like about like metafictional, like about stuff content soon. But this may be the last stream of the year. I might do one between Christmas and New Year's. I'll see. It's probably I might take that break though, because I've been chugging. Anyway, thanks so much for coming to the stream. I want to wish all of you guys Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, Yule, Happy Holidays. Otherwise, hope everything goes well with your family or your friends or whoever you're celebrating with. Or if you're just kicking it back, I hope you have a good week regardless. Thanks so much for coming. Good luck out there. Keep climbing, and do not ever look down. See you around.